Hello and good morning to everyone out there. How are you? You are watching the Megachurch of Joy. You are here with Rev Deuce today, live in the tub from Boca Raton, where it is always 69. Now, what the hell is going on here? Well, this is a place where we work on our relationship with fear because we know that all of our problems in this world are the result of our relationship with fear, that fear is our God in this world. We also understand that fear's patterns are at work every single day on social media, in our information ecosystem. And so what we do is we push back against the narratives and agendas of the billionaires and oligarchs who seek to divide us by paying pundits to speak their narratives and agendas to us and to manipulate us and to spread propaganda. So we are, in fact warriors in the tub here, beaming to you live from Boca Raton, Florida, where it is always 69. I am Rev Deuce. I created this religion in 2014 after I tripped a certain ego-reducing compound on the shores of Boca Raton, Florida, after my niece bought me an improv class because she thought I looked sad. And she was right. At that time, I was at rock bottom. I was selling seashells by the seashore to support my video game addiction. My dog had left me and my wife ran away straight to the Everglades. And I realized in that moment in 2014 that fear was our God, and that we spend our lives ever since we are born walking in fear's patterns in this world of shame, of doubt, of inadequacy, of guilt, and that fear is the agent that keeps us from being able to connect with other human beings. And so in this day and age where we all have a psychological need for community, control, and comprehension, we are able to be manipulated by fear's agents, by the giant dickheads with all of the money whose program is to divide us, whose program is to manipulate us and to do the opposite of what fact-based journalism reporting in the public interest does, which is to inoculate us against harms to society, to show us what is going on in the world. So we say yes, and we are so grateful for all of you who are here. We are so grateful for all of you who are in the Substack. Rev Deuce is managing multiple streams at once, and I'll tell you what, it is not easy to do. So if you are here in the chat in Substack, we would love to hear from you. If you are here in the chat on Twitch or YouTube, we would love to hear from you. And so what we do here is we go through the news. We talk about how we are informed. We want to know about your sources of information. We want you to tell us what your sources of information are so that we can talk about them and we can talk about how we are informed in our largely commercialized and corporate system for informing the public, which is not great. It pales in comparison to a public media system for informing the public that the world's healthiest democracies have. And so as we backslide into autocracy in this country, we understand the value of having a robust media ecosystem that reports in the public interest, but we do not have that in this country. We are clinging to the bastions of public interest reporting like ProPublica and like The Intercept and like The Guardian. And now everybody still gets it wrong sometimes because of our corporate commercialized system and needing to be sensational. But what we do is we work on sharing high quality, fact-based news that is in the public interest. And we want to get our MAGA friends and neighbors off of the disinformation and propaganda stream that they are on. Because at all times we are all in an information war against the oligarchs. It is us versus them, MAGA and everyone non-MAGA. It is not you versus me, although so often it seems that way. That is the playing field that has been created for us in the information war. Ready to get into it today to celebrate our Discord. And now again, look, how will you share this bastion of fact-based information out into the world? Because what we have going on right now is that there are just a few folks here, and I love these folks, and these folks are with me at all times. And so to kick it off today, we want to engage in what we do here as part of the Megachurch of Joy, because this is a real religion based on the tenets of quality improvisational comedy. Energy, support, commitment, giving, connection, and gratitude. How will you make someone look like a rock star today? How will you be grateful today? So we want to kick things off by reading the Daily Dose. The Daily Dose is something that we all say to each other in order to encourage us to have a day where we listen and agree with people in spite of our differences, where we connect with our fellow Americans and loved ones, and maybe sometimes our estranged loved ones, especially. A song about the discord, says Madison. Okay, well, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Hey, Zach Keishan, we love you. We are grateful for you. Zach, how will you lift people up today? How will you make them look like rock stars? This is a fact-based tub of joy where we spread fact-based information that aligns with small d democratic values. We are so grateful that you are here today, and we look forward to people sharing this space with other people. As we go through our day and as we understand that we must be fact warriors at all times. And so let's read the Daily Dose. To ourselves we say, self, today I endeavor to be a better teammate than yesterday. I vow to keep it simple, to listen better, to commit harder, and to give more expertly. It is my joyous burden to make those around me appear as rock stars and support the ideas of others. I will move past obstructions, drop insecurities, and put trust in myself and others. I will attempt to emotionally connect with whomever I meet. I say this in the spirit of best intentions. Yes, and. So we want to welcome everyone in and say hello, and we want to get right into covering what is happening in the Newski Baruski. Okay, so we are going to get into it. We are going to check in on what is happening in the news. And now we are also celebrating our Discord today. So what is happening in the news? Let's talk about it. We have a piece here from Foreign Affairs, and it says that Trump's tariffs and attacks sanctions on the rule of law are putting the dollar's dominance at risk, right? Edward Fishman, some other person, and Richard Nephew. The true result of a declining dollar will be the demise of the very economic power Trump is attempting to wield. So we're always looking for fact-based perspective from experts. And so we are going to drop this one into the Discord, into the Fact Warrior section. So you can join our Discord where you can get all of these links every single day. So most people do not understand that Donald Trump is purposefully tanking the economy for self-enrichment purposes. We have articles about this at publicenlightenment.com. Now, moving on, I just learned that the entire press team at the FDA was fired last week. The entire press team. Now, who's Matthew Shipman? He's a writer and a comms person. He's followed by someone else that we trust. So let's get into this thread from Matt Shipman about the entire press team being fired from the FDA. It's difficult to grasp how bizarre this is, he says, to wrap our brain around the idea. He made a list of the FDA is responsible for and what reporters now have no one to ask the agency about. So they are deleting transparency. They are deleting our ability to understand what is happening in our government. So Matt Shipman, a comms person, tells us there is now nobody for reporters to contact about the safety and security of existing pharmaceuticals or medical devices. There's no one to ask about the safety and security of the food supply, except some meat and poultry and egg products regulated by the USDA. He says there's nobody at the FDA for reporters to ask about emerging pharmaceutical treatments, which the agency reviews for safety and efficacy. There's nobody to ask about new medical devices. There is now no one at the FDA for reporters to contact regarding the safety of cosmetics. There is no one for reporters to contact about the safety or security of electronic devices that emit radiation. There's no one to ask about the manufacturing or marketing of tobacco products. There's nobody at the FDA that reporters can ask about the safety, security, or availability of existing or emerging biological products. This is happening amidst a trade war that raises serious questions about the cost and availability of a host of foods, drugs, and medical treatments that rely on international supply chains. One org responsible for answering questions about the cost and availability of those things is the FDA. So Linda and Zach, we are so grateful to have you with us in the Substack today, and we are also so grateful to everyone else who is a member of the Tub community. We are dropping this link into the Fact Warriors channel of our Discord as we speak, so that we can all be aware of what is going on in this world. Now, did Deucey Bobusi retweet this? No, he didn't. Let's retweet it. Okay, that's another way to find this information. Hey, Lilith won't be on much today. Lilith is in court for work, handling some small fires and other projects. We'll be tuned in for a while, though. Good to see everyone. We love you, Lilith, and we are grateful for you. How will you all be grateful for someone today? How will you love people today? How will you lift people up? How will you support the ideas of others, even when you find it so hard to agree? Because that is what we do here. We are a space of love and support, of commitment to other people's energy and connection. That's what we do, because that is what this religion is based upon. Hey, Sherry Cuistra, we are so grateful to have you here today. We are going through the news. It's a segment we like to call Read the News with Deuce. So often in this world, we are consulting something called information light. We're chugging down the information light, and it is just hurting our brains, hurting our bodies, hurting our society. And we are online at all times, mainlining disinformation and propaganda from the disinformation and propaganda ecosystem that exists and was created for all of us by the right wing in this country. And so we push back against all of that here. So what else is in the news? Let's keep going. This is our friend and commentator Jamel Bowie, who is on top of everything. Now, this is a mean comment, and Jamel is being kind of a dick, but it is interesting to see and understand how the rest of our country and how the rest of our world is thinking about what's going on, because we need to understand. So I don't even know who Nick Gillespie is. Can someone look him up and tell me? Let's find out who the hell Nick Gillespie is. Who's Nick Gillespie? Okay, so he writes for Reason Magazine. Now, Reason Magazine is funded and created by right-wing billionaires to manipulate us about climate change. And we have written about that in the past here at Public Enlightenment. So this guy is a paid propagandist, masquerading under the umbrella of like Libertarian Thought magazine. Okay. Now, Jamel Bowie is saying, what is he saying? Let's get back to what Jamel Bowie was saying. So he's talking about this guy, Nick Gillespie. He's saying, I'm glad Kamala Harris lost, very cautiously optimistic about what might come next. But if politics is the main place where you find meaning, community, identity, you're screwed whatever side you're on. Politics can't do the work of living your life for you. And then what is this guy, who is a paid propagandist by a right-wing disinformer, by right-wing billionaires? Now he says, I'm 61. Over the past 2 months, my 401k has lost 25% of its value. I'm always happy to contribute to the greater good, but can someone please explain to me how this helps anyone? Now, as someone who is purportedly a journalist working at a place called Reason Magazine, Nick Gillespie should have understood Project 2025. He should especially have understood, since he's paid by the right-wing billionaires who hate all of us, he should have especially understood that this was their program. He's worked for anti-government, aggrieved right-wing billionaires in I don't know for how long in his career, but this has been their plan the whole time. This guy has to know about New Apostolic Reformation. This guy has to know about the Council for National Policy. This guy has to know about the Heritage Foundation and the State Policy Network. He has to know about all of the think tanks paid for by all of the billionaires, all of the Soroses of the right who created this world for us. You know what I mean? That's just a little bit of perspective on what's going on. Now let's get into this. Let's see what's going on. So this is real and true. So apparently, Peter Navarro, who recently just got out of jail. Peter Navarro is who is been guiding many of Trump's economic policies, if that's what they can be called, over the last few years. And this is true. I fact-checked this. Peter Navarro has lied in his books about an expert named Ron Vera. That's actually just an anagram for his for his name, Navarro. And similar to weirdo, and sorry, we don't like to call people weirdos because we like to love and support and believe that everyone is doing the best they can with what they have here. But weirdo Andrew Cuomo, who also makes up a guy and attributes quotes to him, Peter Navarro does the same thing, and he uses it to say that these are economic policies from an economic expert, Ron Vera.
The most imbecilic and destructive trade war in the history of the world is the profound economic research and policy writings of one Ron Vera, a completely fictional economist conjured up by Trump advisor Peter Navarro, a real person who Elon Musk just called, quote, a moron and dumb as a sack of bricks. Navarro's last name, delightfully, is an anagram for Ron Vera. You can try this yourself at home. Navarro turns into Ron Vera. Navarro figured that out himself, perhaps the greatest achievement of the Trump administration so far. What an enchanting and clever basis upon which to crash the economy of the United States of America.
Now, a little bit of shade, definitely some hardcore shade from Rep. Jamie Raskin, but Jamie Raskin is a constitutional scholar by trade. I'm sure he's just very sad and pissed off about what's happening in this country, which so many of us are. Hey, Gene, how are you? Welcome. We are going through the news here. We're calling it Read the News with Deuce, and we are checking in on what is happening in the world. We are all fact warriors at all times. Now, this guy, Mike Brock, he's been writing. He's kind of in a very acerbic voice. And so, is there room for acerbity? Yes, there is. Seeing the MAGA media pivot to the short-term pain for long-term gain argument and to encourage patriotic economic suffering is pretty wild from a bunch of assholes who made a big deal out of temporarily elevated inflation during a period of high growth and low unemployment. So we get perspective on what's happening in the news here, and we can't always be pure. We like to be loving and supportive here, but Mike Brock and many people are righteously indignant and righteously pissed off about what is happening in the world. So let's check in more about what's happening in the world, and then in about 5 minutes we are going to improvise a song, because that's another thing that we do here. So let's check in on the news. This is the feed that you can all get by consulting Public Enlightenment's profile, where I have created lists for all of you. You can go and click on the lists, and then you can find fact checkers, diverse opinion, historians, legal experts, the news, media critics, political science, and disinfo experts. And you can get all the perspective that you need on the news in just 20 minutes every single day. So let's see if we can do that right now. Let's check in on the news. You can pin these to your profile on Blue Sky, and you can get a feed and stream of information that is based on fact-based newsrooms that are pro-democracy. There's no such thing as lack of bias, and there's no such thing as objectivity in news. So all we can hope for is an emphasis on fact and context and a pro-democracy bias. So we've got To Smile, KFF Health News, Foreign Affairs, Aaron Rupar, Dame Magazine, 404 Media, Truth Out, Muskwatch, The Verge, Nation Magazine, Contrarian, New Republic, ProPublica, The Intercept, TPM, Popular Information, The Associated Press, Guardian, Bolt, States Newsroom, Democracy Now!, 19th News, and so many more. So let's check in on the news. Donald Trump believes iPhone manufacturing could move to the U.S., says the White House. We don't really like that headline because it just carries the messaging of known disinformers and propagandists. But okay. Bartiromo to Besant. Business leaders are saying to me, why are we doing this? Everyone was very excited about President Trump's agenda, deregulation, tapping into energy, tax cuts, and now boom, with these tariffs, everything has changed. Why are we doing this? So even on Rupert Murdoch's disinformation and propaganda network, sometimes they align, sometimes Fox News acts as state media, and we keep Aaron Rupar in here so that we can see what's happening, in these spaces. There is a disclaimer at the top of this list, but so of course you can go to publicenlightenment.com and you can find this list and you can use it to go through and see what's happening in the news. But so even the veneer of propaganda is cracking on Fox's disinformation and propaganda network. Besant is rumored to be looking to maybe leave because he's worried about his reputation. We need to get better at treating this like a business, acting ICE Director Todd Lyons said, explaining he wants to see deportation process like Amazon Prime but with human beings. So we are grateful for Marissa Kabas, who has... Now what happened? I messed something up, guys. Let's get back onto this feed. I just tried to shrink it. Now, Marissa Kabas, we are grateful for her. She has broken a lot of news, and welcome to everybody. Let's get lively in that chat on Substack. Let's get lively in these chats, gang. Let's see, check in on everybody. Not a lot of people are watching, but that's okay. Nevertheless, we persist. All right, let's keep going. And, of course, you can consult all of Public Enlightenment's social media, and you can spread fact-based information that aligns with small d democratic values every time you're online. Rev Deuce realizes that he needs to up his energy a little bit, so we need to get better at treating this like a business. Now, this is horrific. If we have any empathy whatsoever, MAGA or not MAGA, we need to understand that this is not how we should treat human beings, and we need to be terrified about the loss of due process in this country. Right? Am I right? Tell me how you feel about that in the Substack chat. Now, this is Lisa McLean, some sort of propagandist, saying that we should, give them a chance when they're obviously purposefully tanking the economy in order to enrich themselves and consolidate power. Aaron Rupar, excuse my burp, Aaron Rupar has been very busy this morning, it appears. So the United States had moved towards tariffs that protected U.S. workers, industry, and environment, says one expert, and Trump is undoing it all. So there's an article that you can read about that at The Intercept. We're going to drop that into the Discord. We are celebrating the Discord today. That is what we are doing. And we are also going to sing a song very soon. So if you are in the Substack, another thing that we do here is we sing songs that we improvise. I improvise them because this is a religion based on the tenets of quality improvisational comedy. Energy, support, commitment, giving, connection, and gratitude. And so what we are doing here is we are going through the news, and we are doing that because we have two streams of information in our country that divide us and make us not connect with each other. And what we do is we walk fear's patterns every single day since we were born. And when we walk those patterns, it is easy for us to judge one another, to hate one another, to not connect with one another. And so what we do is we work on a relationship with fear here as well. You know what I mean? So I'm so grateful for all of you who are coming to understand what this space is and who are coming to appreciate what we do here. And so we want to hear from you in the chat. What are your fears? What are your fears so that we can support you and we can work on our relationship with fear? And we can push back on the division and hate that the oligarchs and billionaires have created for us on social media. So we are looking at the news. ProPublica is saying a DHS spokesperson defended Trump's gutting of the agency's civil rights office, saying the fired staffers, rather than supporting law enforcement efforts, they often functioned as internal adversaries to slow down operations. Now, we disagree with even how ProPublica is presenting this, because this is carrying the words of a disinformation administration as though they should be taken at face value in their social media post here. Now, this headline is much better. They don't care about civil rights. It's a quote. Trump's shuttering of DHS oversight arm freezes 600 cases, imperils human rights. Now let's transition into a song. We want to talk to you in the chats. Are you interested in me improvising a song based on the genre suggestion of anything at all? Plus, now let's do this now. Oh, don't look at that. Don't look at that. Look at that. Okay, we got rid of that. Now, please, we are going to sing a song right now. Please give me the suggestion of anything at all for genre, and then give me the suggestion of anything at all for the topic of the song. Grayson and Madison were a little upset before with each other. They were saying that it was too meta. Madison's suggestion was too meta, but so here we go. Let's do it. And then what we're going to get into next is we're going to talk about what's been going on social media, because 40% of Americans under the age of 30 get their news and information from social media. And we know that influencers only over 60% of influencers do not fact check any of their information before they share it online. And so if you like what we're doing here, we want you to read and subscribe to publicenlightenment.com. I'm currently working on an article about Charlie Kirk for my series brought to you by billionaires, because we need to expose for our MAGA friends and neighbors that they are hooked into a disinformation and propaganda ecosystem. And then now what they would tell us is that we're hooked into an disinformation and propaganda ecosystem. But that is just not the way it goes. There is a fact-based source of information in this country, and if you were more in tune with the fact-based source of information, you were more likely to vote for the candidate that was not going to destroy the economy. The suggestion from Madison is folk. Do we have anybody earth to the Substack? Is anybody in the Substack at all? I know, Madison. I know about the delay. I don't know. There's nothing I can do about it, but we're doing the best we can with what we have, just like everybody at all times in this planet. Now, this doesn't doobie-doobie-doo. Scooby-Dooby-La. No, we don't like this one. Sorry if you do like it and you comment and there is a delay. European folk waltz. No way. Psychedelic acoustic folk. What is psychedelic about this? All right, we're going to do this one. Okay, we're going to do this one. Now, look, what do we got? Give me the suggestion of anything at all, team. That's what I'm looking for. And we'll kill the music. And we'll kill the waves. And now we'll just wait for a suggestion. Jacob said, can you sing a song about Legos? Heck yeah, I can. So we're going to sing a song for a little 6-year-old boy who just turned 6. Happy birthday, Jacob. And we are going to sing about Legos, and we are making this up. This is how it goes. This is another thing that we do here because we learn to have a relationship with fear. So am I scared that I'll fail? Sure. But I'm just going to do it, just like you can do whatever it is that you want to do today in this world. You just have to follow the energy that is inside you and that fear tries to suppress from you expressing. Fear tries to keep you from being, hey, Jacob, are you listening? Fear, sometimes we get scared, buddy. But you know what? When we're scared, we look to our friends and neighbors and our parents and our relatives, and we ask them to help us with our fear, okay? And so what we're going to do now is you're going to help me with my fear, and you're going to listen to me sing a song and make it up. And even if I don't do a great job, you're going to say, you know what? We support you, Deuce. You tried the thing. You followed the energy of the space, and you did the thing. Just like we all do that in life, right? So this is a song about Legos. The suggestion was Legos, and the suggestion for genre was folk. How do I build something today? I take one brick at a time. I take my Lego and I stack it on top. I push on down and it makes a clippy clop. 'Cause I'm building something with my friends. I hope that this building fun never ends. I'm building something with my pals and I hope that it lasts. But the thing about building with Legos is that eventually you take it apart. You move on to build something new. You build on to a better start. And so we look to the sky, we look to our friends, we look and we see upon what it depends. It's all about the tools we have in front of us that then becomes what we can make. Because we're building something with our Legos. This song is really short. We'll do it again because Jacob, you're my friend. Let's start again. I take a brick and I take it out. I stack it on top of another one. I take a decision that is my own. I pick from the colors, which one will I use? Because I'm making something, I'm being creative. I'm letting it flow through my body. Oh yes, I'm building something new. Have you ever built something? I'm building something new. Something for me and something for you. You tell me what I should make. I look at it and I start to quake with excitement. Because it is my thing that I can make. It is my thing. I'm gonna make it for you, gonna make it for me. Gonna put some Legos together and see what will become of my creativity. What will become of my creativity. Stephanie Wilson, welcome on into the Mega Tub of Joy. We are celebrating the discord that we have today by singing a song that we improvise every 15 minutes. Thank you, Jacob, for saying that I did a great job and that you loved it. That's so beautiful. We sang a song for 6-year-old Jacob, whose birthday was this week, and he wanted to hear a song about Legos. And so Rev Deuce improvised a song about building something. So I want to share with everybody something that I just encountered online. And we're going to go on a little bit of a journey. And I was thinking maybe I would write something about this in the future, but we're going to start with a video that I saw. We're going to talk about what happens in our information ecosystem. So I saw this video.
News, Senator Johnson, Senator Grassi just sent this to me a little bit ago while we're on air. It's a major development. You're taking a look at a letter right there that was just sent to the FBI Director Kash Patel and the Attorney General Pam Bondi. What does it say? It says that Congress has obtained evidence that shows that the Biden White House was directly involved in trying to help start Jack Smith's investigation on the January 6th probe against President Trump.
So we know that Kash Patel, the new FBI director, is a conspiracist. And so when we are online and when we are on Instagram, because what we're doing here is we're going through how we are all manipulated as a society and how it could be that while half the country is cheering for the destruction of their country, the other half of the country is taking to the streets, okay? It's because we are on two different streams of information. Let me get the music going again. So sorry, everybody. Here we go. We'll get the music and the waves going. And so we are on two different streams of information in this society, and it is causing there to be an alternate reality. We all remember Kellyanne Conway, and she said alternative facts, okay? And that was the beginning of the end for our trust in society. The right-wing disinformation network is following Putin's playbook of disinformation, okay? In an information war. And so you may be just a regular American who happens upon this, right? You may be just a regular American who sees this guy, and you don't know who John Solomon is at all. Well, guess what? Sometimes we're not always going to have public enlightenment over here in the comments to chat about what it is and say that John Solomon is a disinformer. But so what happens is you're just a regular American. You don't know what's real or fake on the internet. You may be a fan of Real America's Voice, one of the false news organizations that's been created for you to create an alternative reality for you that is not based in fact and is based in conspiracy and propaganda, okay? And so then what happens, oh, now I have a screenshot. Now how do I get that onto my screen? Then what I found is I typed into Meta, this is going to take me a second here. I typed into Meta, how do I get this? What should I do? I should just email this to myself. That's what I should do. I'm going to email this to myself. Hold on 1 second now. This is going to take me one hot minute. Gosh, by golly. Okay, I'm going to email this to myself. Photo. So then I was on, this is just to show how screwed we are, okay, as a society. Okay, so we are so screwed. Now I don't know if this is a bad idea to put my email on the screen. It's probably a terrible idea. Now, this is just to show how ski-rude we are as a society. In fact, don't look at this. We're going to take that away. I'm not good at this. So, address not found. This is who I am. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I'll show you what happens. I'll try to do it in real time. So I'll go on Instagram and I'll go into the search. This is what happened. And I typed John Solomon, and then Meta AI. No, it didn't work. Meta AI started telling me something about John Solomon. I typed John Solomon into Instagram because I was re-looking for this video, okay? And it auto-produced information about John Solomon. It came up on my screen like it informed me of what John Solomon was saying and who he was. So this is how Meta AI defines John Solomon. It said John Solomon. So if I'm trying to understand who this person is who just spoke to me and shared disinformation for me, this is how screwed we are by Meta and by our information ecosystem that the billionaires own, and they tune it to us, okay? They tune us to it. And now I understand there's disinformation on the screen, and I apologize for that. But so John Solomon, this is what it says, and I quote, John Solomon is a multifaceted individual with pursuits in radio, sports, and music. As the Community Impact Director of the Aspen Institute Sports and Society Program, John Solomon focuses on Project Play's community work, portfolio, national, and local youth sports research. In the realm of radio, John Solomon hosts a weekly 3-hour radio program on WPRB in Princeton, New Jersey, featuring live performances from various bands. His latest radio shows are featured an eclectic mix of music. It's worth noting that John Solomon has also worked as a sports reporter covering college football and NCAA issues for CBS Sports. So what Meta did not believe was worth reporting, okay, let's get to the real reality of John Solomon here. John Solomon is a disinformer, okay? Solomon began his career as a reporter for the Associated Press, but subsequently bounced around in right-wing media from the Washington Times, which is owned by Phil Anschutz, which was created as a counterpoint, a propaganda counterpoint to the Washington Post, to a website called Circa News, okay? In 2012, Columbia Journalism Review concluded that Solomon has a history of bending the truth to his storyline and distorting facts and hyping petty stories. Among his claims to infamy is publishing the debunked Uranium One conspiracy. Okay, starting in March of this year, Solomon's articles in The Hill and his tweets spun out a web of conspiracy theories, in some cases then tweeted by Trump. That parts of Ukrainian government, in coordination with the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, colluded to help Hillary Clinton's campaign by leaking financial records of Paul Manafort. Okay, so John Solomon is a disinformer. The State Department labeled the charges in Solomon's initial article about Yovanovitch an outright fabrication. Okay? And now we don't just trust the government's opinion on this per se. We can fact check it in other ways. We can look in other places. All right? Now look at this, though. So I've just read on Meta, if I'm just a regular American, okay, who maybe, doesn't understand that a right-wing disinformation and propaganda complex has been created over the last 60 years to manipulate me, okay? Maybe I don't understand that, right? So then maybe I'll look up John Solomon elsewhere, and I see
Ronald
John
Reagan
Solomon
fight all day with Tip O'Neill
on something called Summit Ministries.
There was a civility
and he's being treated like a respectable journalist. Okay, and then now let's
kind of began with every child deserves a mother.
Summit Ministries. Let's see what this is. Since 1962, Summit Ministries has been training Christians in worldview development and analysis. Okay, so John Solomon, disinformer, had to leave the Hill in shame because he was exposed as having consulted with Rudy Giuliani to put false news. Sorry, we don't like to say fake news because that is literally a Hitlerian tactic that Donald Trump has assumed as an authoritarian to destroy all of our trust following Vladimir Putin's playbook, right? Okay. So we find that John Solomon is part of this disinformation network that is also based in like God. They're asking questions like, are people born gay? Well, yes, of course they are. All of this quasi-religious indoctrination, you know what I mean? Well, look, everyone's doing the best they can with what they have. Now, chat, if you want to talk about this, we would love to hear what you have to say about all of this, whether you're on Substack or you're on YouTube or Twitch, okay? And now let's check in on this. The Hill criticizes John Solomon's Ukraine columns, implements new policies after lengthy review. Now, this is Oliver Darcy. He is a fact-based journalist who writes about media for his Substack or whatever, his platform called status.news. At the time, he was writing for CNN. The Hill on Wednesday, this is from 2020. Oh, just before the pandemic. The Hill on Wednesday released the findings of its months-long review into the work of John Solomon, the former executive at the outlet whose columns pushing right-wing conspiracy theories about Ukraine played a pivotal role in President Donald Trump's impeachment inquiry. The findings of the investigation, which were announced in a memo posted online, were critical of both the work Solomon did while he was at the Hill and the editorial process that allowed the columns to be published. And this is back when the Hill was run by Jimmy Finkelstein. Now, Jimmy Finkelstein is a Trump supporter who directed John Solomon while he was the head of the Hill to spread disinformation and propaganda in coordination with Rudy Giuliani. In some columns, there was context and or disclosure that should have been included at the time of his writings. In other cases, these editors' notes highlight what has been learned since Solomon's columns were initially published. The Hill also acknowledged fault handling Solomon's work and said that an investigation has made it reconsider some policies and reiterate guidelines that were already in place. Okay? Columns by Solomon, who has defended his work but did not respond to a request for comment on Wednesday morning, helped shape public perception of Joe Biden's foreign policy dealings. The columns helped trigger the chain of events that led to Trump asking the recently elected Ukrainian president to probe Biden and his son Hunter. And multiple witnesses referenced the reporting to their congressional testimonies disputing the veracity of Solomon's columns. Okay? So, apparatchik of disinformation, Lev Parnas, right, who has since had a mea culpa, but whatever. Okay, so he, with Rudy Giuliani and Parnas, worked with Solomon at the Hill, which was spreading disinformation on purpose in order to generate the ability for the president of the United States at the time, Donald Trump, previous to this date that this was reported, to spread this disinformation and then have it become part of the entire right-wing disinformation network. Okay? Are you with me, gang? Are you with me, gang? Now, look, we want to talk to the people who are here in the chat. So if you are here in Substack, we would love to hear from you. We want to know what's going on with you. We want to know what you think about what we're doing here. We want to talk to you about your We want to talk to you about your sources of information. We want to get to know you. We want to talk to you. So would you please type into the chat what you would like to see us do, what you'd like to see us cover. Right now, let's go watch a couple of videos that I saved on Instagram, and we'll talk about our information ecosystem, okay? And we need you to be fact warriors every single time you're online, okay? Excuse me, pardon me. So you need to spread fact-based information that aligns with your small d democratic values every single time that you are online. We are fact warriors here, okay? Let's listen to Jason Stanley, an expert on disinformation.
Liberal arts colleges in authoritarian countries. So if you're transitioning to authoritarianism, you have to target colleges and universities as well as education. They're targeting black history, they're targeting minority history, and they're trying to replace it explicitly with patriotic education. Now, just imagine your cartoon vision of an authoritarian country. Imagine 1984, George Orwell's book. It's a country where students pledge allegiance to the flag every day. It's a country where instead of knowledge and learning, they're indoctrinated. There are no liberal arts colleges in authoritarian countries.
There are no liberal arts colleges in authoritarian countries. And what are they doing? They are attacking academia. What's his face? J.D. Vance has said that J.D. Vance and Steve Bannon have said that the universities are the enemy. Okay, now here's a fact-based
Why is nobody
influencer.
talking about the fact that there are going to be two unexpected impacts of tariffs that are even worse than just stuff getting more expensive? How do I know? Because I'm Vivian, your rich BFF, and your favorite Wall Street girlie who teaches you all the finance and economics you should have gotten in school, so you should follow if you want to get smarter. First up, insurance costs are going to skyrocket. In case you forgot, insurance companies are filled with dorks whose entire job is to calculate risk, called actuaries. They do a bunch of math to calculate how much you need to spend in premiums every single month for it to make sense for them to eventually potentially pay you out in case you get into a car accident or a window gets broken on your home. Even if you're not buying a new car, if you're trying to get a piece replaced because you got into a crash, that piece likely came from abroad. And if all of a sudden these insurance companies realize they need to spend more to get those replacement parts for your and everybody else's claims, what do you think is going to happen? Those dorks are going to change those calculations, and you are going to end up paying more for car insurance every single month, whether or not you drive American made. 2, even homegrown stuff is going to get more expensive. The best example of this I've seen was shared by Pearlmania500 on TikTok. Say you want to buy Florida oranges, grown in America for Americans. Great, but you want to know what wasn't American made? The hose that was used to water the oranges, or the truck that took them from the farm to the distribution factory, the fluorescent lights at the grocery store, or the netting that held them in the bag. When there are more costs throughout the supply chain, you will pay more. If you're one of those people who's saying, I'll just buy American made and save, you're sorely mistaken. These tariffs are going to be expensive for everybody, and that's ultimately going to hurt people who can least afford it. Why is nobody talking?
Now, do we love the way that this woman talks about her fellow Americans? Not necessarily, we don't have to love it, right? It's based in fact and it's persuasive, so I would encourage people to share this. Do we love that she says she's your rich BFF? Do we love that she calls actuaries dorks? I mean, look, is the actuary self-identifying as a dork? Maybe they are, but you know what I mean? We don't have to love every single aspect of it. I understand what she's trying to do. Look at me. Look at how I'm dressed. Look at what I'm doing. You have to be entertaining in this world where we are amusing ourselves to death. So I haven't looked more deeply into your rich BFF, but I would say that this is a fine video to share across your social media because it is a persuasive argument that is based in fact. okay? And we are, last I checked, we are in an information war at all times. At all times. We are being attacked by Vladimir Putin, by Elon Musk, by Christopher Rufo, by Steve Bannon. They are flooding the zone with shit, and we have to flood the zone with facts, and we cannot be pure about it. It is information warfare out there, okay? Let's check in on what our fellow Americans are seeing. So this is a disinformation warning. I'm giving you a warning that you are about to see propaganda and disinformation, okay? Let's look at this
When Biden
video.
got elected, all the Republicans were just like, all right, well, here's going to be a fun 4 years. And then just what about their day? Trump, how long's it been?
A month and a half.
Yeah, give or take. These Democrats, liberals are like still bitching and like are still like, oh, this is why he shouldn't be in office, this. Like, I'm just like, dude, he's going to be your president for the next 4 years.
This
just
is propaganda.
Chill out, take it, and like, see what happens.
do
Roll with the
something.
punches. Yeah, go touch some grass. When Biden got...
This is propaganda. That was propaganda, okay? Our fellow Americans are seeing stuff like this every single day. It is not true in the least. And we don't know who this guy is. We don't know anything about this guy. And neither does anybody who happens upon this, right? But opinion and belief is being generated and made and manufactured every single day online. And so people consult the right-wing disinformation complex that the billionaires have created for all of us, and then they start to take to social media and they start to ape and repeat this stuff. And now it's like, do we even have trolls and AI bots, or have the humans, have our fellow MAGA Americans been turned into trolls and AI bots by the alternative reality, the alternative facts reality that Kellyanne Conway and Steve Bannon and Chris Rufo and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk have created for us? I mean, Charlie Kirk travels the country on something called the Brainwashed Tour, okay? You want to talk about propaganda? You know, look, we will get back onto TikTok Live soon enough, and we will talk to our friend S-Bub, who is a big fan of Charlie Kirk, and that is why I am writing the piece I am currently about Charlie Kirk. But I mean, come on, are you kidding my daddy? It is a lie on its face from this young man who's, you know, charismatic, good-looking dude, and he's saying, oh, Republicans just chilled when Biden was elected. Are you kidding me? It launched the big lie. It launched a lie that led to a coup attempt in our country. There was no chill. There was a violent shit-smearing insurrection in the halls of our Capitol, okay, where things could have gone super wrong. But that is why you have this, you know, they took a coup attempt and turned it into a normal tourist visit. And that is the reality for many of our Americans. So if you don't think that every single day you are fighting an information war for the soul of democracy, for the soul of your fellow Americans, you absolutely are. And so if you are calling your fellow Americans maggots, if you are calling your fellow Americans libards, you are all a victim in the disinformation propaganda information war. That is what is happening every day. Now, Barry Weiss, we've written a piece about Barry Weiss, and we will go after we share this video to show you exactly what Barry Weiss's whole grifting program, and you know, the number one rule here is don't be a dick. Well, Barry Weiss is a giant dickhead. Let's check in on what Barry Weiss's propaganda is. Again, this is a propaganda warning, propaganda warning.
There were two things I think that I didn't know in that moment when I was crying at my desk. One would be the sort of overzealous, out of touch, hysterical reaction to him, and the kind of illiberalism that was born out of the reaction to him that calls itself democratic, that calls itself progressive, but is actually extraordinarily authoritarian and totalitarian in its impulses. And to me presented a very, very grave danger, and one that I saw intimately at the New York Times, which is where I went after the Wall Street Journal. The other thing that I didn't see was that Trump was going to do a lot of policies that I agreed with. I thought the Abraham Accords were historic and excellent. I thought his policy vis-a-vis Iran was excellent. The economy was better. And look, the argument that the country would unravel and democracy would die in darkness and Trump would be this authoritarian, Hitlerian power, it was impossible to make that argument in the run-up to this election, only because Americans had lived through 4 years of him and things didn't fall apart. Now,
this is propaganda. Now, let's go and check in on our post about Barry Weiss, publicenlightenment.com, okay? I like this new thing where I show propaganda and I just say this is propaganda over it. But okay, let's check in. Where is it? Barry Weiss, brought to you by billionaires. Please, you can share this as widely as you can. Okay, if you belong to a Jewish organization, you can share this with all of them, because I guarantee you that probably in so many temples across the country that half of the people are like, we love the free press and we love Barry Weiss. Well, Barry Weiss is a grifter, and I want to home in on a piece of reporting by Emma Green. So what I like to do is I create these things that you can share and you can push back on the disinformation society that has been created for us. Hello, Victoria Woodhead. We are showing you how Barry Weiss is a grifter. We just showed a video of her speaking propaganda, and now we are showing you, and could someone clip this? This would make an incredible clip on YouTube. So I would be so grateful for that. Okay, so Weiss had already been talking with a few of her friends about creating a new anti-woke organization. Her friends had workshopped a pitch to the Manhattan Institute, a conservative think tank, for a project to create, quote-unquote, a modern-day Death Star to wage, quote-unquote, ideological warfare on the, quote-unquote, enemies of modernity. Their plan involved writing coordinated op-eds and promoting anti-woke content. Okay, so look, can we just check in with reality? The reality is that there is no such thing as a left-wing disinformation complex in any way, shape, or form that reflects or in any way mimics or in any way is as large or is any way as coordinated and purposeful as that which exists on the right wing, okay? And that is what is happening in this country. And so when we are online, we are just being inundated with mis and disinformation, okay? Look at this. This is a video put together by someone who wants to show for you that Benny Johnson, who was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by Russia to spread propaganda to all of us in America.
Losing money costs you nothing.
This is 2025. I imagine this is very recent, where Benny Johnson is doing propaganda to make our fellow Americans okay with what is happening right now in our country, the destruction of our country.
This is just the reality of life. You're gonna, like, were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing, in fact.
These people will say anything to continue the idea that everything that Donald Trump does is great. Do people who are non-MAGA think that everything that a Democratic politician does is great? Absolutely not. Many people had problems with Joe Biden. But the thing is that we don't exist in a world where Joe Biden is being created into this deity, this person who can never do wrong, for whom every single thing that he does is excused. That is not the reality. And so we need to detach our fellow Americans from this disinformation ecosystem and just get them on a fact-based ecosystem, because we do not believe that there will ever not be liberal and conservative people and thought in this country. That is the reality of humanity, is a psychological difference. Some people lean right, some people lean left. But when we do not consult the same fact-based sources of information, we are totally ski-rude.
It builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons, actually, by losing.
It's bloody Black Monday. Holy moly. The Kamala crash is here.
Kamala needs to get in front of a camera today. People are losing their homes today. People are losing their fortunes today. People are losing their futures today. People are losing their 401ks today. This is shaping up to be one of the worst market days in American history. Losing money costs you nothing.
Okay, I do not know exactly the different dates there, but obviously this person is someone who will say one thing about the same set of circumstances, and not even the same set of circumstances, right? I mean, Donald Trump is purposefully tanking the economy, and the cracks are showing amongst the disinformation and propaganda, but not from Benny Johnson, I'll tell you that. Not from Benny Johnson, not today, sir. Now, there is just so much disinformation at all times. Look at this. This is propaganda. This is propaganda. This is propaganda. This is propaganda. And that is just two regular Americans who have hooked themselves onto a propaganda feed about what reality is, okay? Here's more propaganda.
Which political party founded the KKK?
This is propaganda.
the Republican Party.
And now I'll interrupt and I'll say that the reason this is propaganda is because there is an emphatic historical fact of the Southern strategy. And that, you know, even Barry Goldwater was a little uncomfortable with it in the 1960s when he was running for president in 1964. Barry Goldwater got destroyed by Lyndon Baines Johnson in that 1964 election. But it was already starting to emerge in the 1964 election that many of the Republicans, and remember, back then we had Republicans who were moderates, progressives, and conservatives, just as we had Democrats who were moderates, progressives, and conservatives, okay? That is the nuance that does not exist in this propaganda piece, okay? There was the Southern strategy, which was the strategy by the Republicans in the 1960s, especially during the Nixon campaign, to recruit the disenchanted Southern Democratic racists, okay? And they became the modern Republican Party. Okay, just look up Lee Atwater, Rick Perlstein, all right? And you can find out part of the strategy where Lee Atwater outlines the fact that you used to be able to say N-word, 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 and that would get you votes, right? And then you couldn't say that anymore. So then you had to say forced busing. Okay, and then you had to say, you had to move on to economic things. And the point was that the voters understood that these economic things that you were talking about, you had to get more and more abstract. But it was a dog whistle, and these people understood that it hurt the people that they didn't like. Okay, and that is the strategy. We know the strategy. It's out of the very mouths of the Republican strategist Lee Atwater in the early 1980s. Okay, you can look all that up. So this propaganda.
Wrong. Democrat Party.
Are you serious? For real?
You know which party abolished slavery?
Which party? Yeah, that was the Democrat Party.
It's actually the Republicans.
Really?
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican?
This is the kind of thing that Americans are stewing in, okay? They're not going to an American history class. They are going online. They are looking at Instagram, and they are just subjecting themselves to propaganda. This is an argument without any nuance whatsoever. Yes, were the Democrats in the 1930s and before the party of the KKK in the South? Absolutely. But that just ignores the history that in the 1960s there was a switch. There was a demonstrative, emphatically proven by fact switch that has been studied and reported on and written about by scholars and academics. It is the real reality of our world, but this is what our fellow Americans are seeing at all times from accounts like Trump Rocks It. Okay, Donald Trump is one of the most unfit people to ever hold office in this country. Now, what is this from Laura Ingram?
We all saw the stock market soaring post-election. It reached an all-time high today, 82,000.
Now, I don't know what 82,000 means because it's never reached 82,000. I don't know. That is a selectively edited clip, and that little part doesn't make sense. But the overall thrust of this video does make sense.
Optimism everywhere. Just ignore the sky is falling reports in the regime press. Tune out the breathless reporting about market gyrations.
I'm excited about.
That is literally propaganda, right? She's just saying, just ignore the evidence of your eyes and ears. This is Orwellian shit, MAGA, and we love you. We know you're doing the best you can with what you have. But unfortunately, what you have is yourselves hooked up to a disinformation stream.
About the economy, look at the stock market. Our rocket ship is getting ready to take off in our economy with President Trump.
We were probably overbloated with the stock market here for a while. We went up quite a bit.
You guys want to start with good news? The market's up 25% since you won. You tweeted this out.
Now, this may be in 2016. I don't know. This looks like a young Hannity. But either way, the thrust of this holds.
Out that nobody in the media brings it up, so I said, you know what, I'm going to bring it up tonight.
Forget the stock market for a second here. And I have said on this program for years, it's never been my indicator in terms of the health of the economy.
The market always knows. So the market already started to kind of have this sort of rally, this sort of Trump rally. It's an energy, it's an electricity. We have to be very, very careful about all of this and the notion that we have to react as Americans based on the market being down. So what?
The stock market is the only sign of life, and it's only going up because everyone thinks Trump is going to win the election. You can't really watch the stock market.
We all saw.
Okay, it is propaganda that you are hooked onto MAGA, and we love you. We know that you're doing the best you can with what you have, but you are hooked up to a disinformation ecosystem that has been created to manipulate you. Literally, Roger Ailes, when working in the Nixon White House in the 1970s, wrote a memo how to get the GOP on TV. He said that TV does the thinking for you. The American public is lazy, and they will just sit and watch, and the thinking is done for them, okay? And then he created Fox News 20 years later to manipulate you, to totally screw with your mind and get you on board with anti-American, anti-democratic ideas and thoughts and beliefs and opinions. And now look at what has happened to our country. Yes, and please, we need you to get onto a fact-based stream of information. Now, the thing about doing this on this setup that I have is that I can't talk to people, and I also don't have any people in here. And so that is a bummer for me, your buddy Rev Deuce. Now, if you are in the Substack, we would love to hear from you. We would love to have you signal that you are alive and that you are talking about this with me, that you are here with me, that you are on board with me, okay? That's what we need. Now let's sing another song, because we promised we are celebrating the Discord today, and I think Rev Deuce might go a little shorter today just because Rev Deuce has to maximize his time as best he can. And so Rev Deuce is gonna maybe go a little shorter today because there are only like 5 people watching, and that's okay. We love you 5 people who are watching, but you know, we got to like maximize our time. So if I write an article that then generates, 20 more subscribers, that is going to be a bigger success for what Rev Deuce does. And so we are grateful for everyone who's here. We love the Paris family. We love the Vargas family. We are so grateful for them, but we need to report that out to the public that is what is going to happen. So friends, loved ones, neighbors, please chime in. Tell me what the genre is that you would like us to do today. And maybe this will be our last song. And now, was Rev Deuce doing a great job today? I don't know, but this is born of interaction. This thing, and it's hard to interact. We're not getting nobody in Substack, so Substack is not really generating many numbers for us today, and that's okay. Are you here in the Substack? We would love to know. Hello, hi, how are you? And then David and Madison and Grayson, if you are still listening, would you be so kind as to give me the suggestion of a genre? I know I have not done the song every 15 minutes, and I do apologize for that. I'm getting all over the place here, okay? I'm trying to figure it out. What do we do? How do we get people in here? How do we get people to chat with us, to talk with us? Okay, we've got a country song. This is David's idea, and we have to support it because that's what we do here. We think about how we can support each other across the divides that the billionaires are creating for us on the social media that we use. Okay, so we're going to do a country song. The genre is, now we've done some of these before. Country swing night. Hey, one person, we are about to improvise a song based on the suggestion of a country song about Rev's dog leaving him. That's me, I'm Rev Deuce, and his wife running away. Okay, that doesn't really have much of a series of chord changes. Country waltz. I kind of like that country waltz. Now, is there another one? I might do this country waltz. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to do. I've got to do this country waltz. And all right. So we're going to do this song right now. it will be better. I hear you, Madison, but the thing is I would love for there to be 1,000 people in here telling me what their sources of information are, right? Like, I mean, I think that I should be talking with people about their sources of information and talking directly to the people, you know? And so I am indeed getting a little discouraged, and I will admit that to all of you. And I love you, and I'm so grateful for you. I mean, I'm so grateful for your family. I just need, 1,000 more families like yours. You know what I mean? I think that makes sense. So, okay, here we go. We are going to improvise a song based on the suggestion of a country song about my dog leaving me and my wife running away. As I look out from my back porch, I wonder where you've gone, my lovely, my honey, you are gone. You left me with my dog, just alone here in Tampa Bay. Will you ever come back from the Everglades? Oh, how I long for that day. It wasn't easy living in a house divided as we. But we tried, despite our differences, to make love so sweet. Then I woke up and you were gone. You had written me a handwritten note. It said you had run to the Everglades. And I said, oh no. My baby, she ran away to the Everglades that fateful day. Is she alive or is she hugged? Is she alive or is she embraced in a python's grip? My baby has run away to the Everglades. I may never see her again, and I wonder if she's still alive. There's gators, there's spiders. Oh, how I wish I was beside her. Oh, my baby, she dead in the Everglades. We argued about money. We argued about whether or not the manosphere was funny. We could never come together. We could never agree. So when she left, I cried a little. But then I realized maybe it was better for each of us to have gone our separate ways. And so that is the story of how my wife left me and my dog. Yeah, she left me and she went off to the Everglades. Okay, that was a song we just improvised about my wife running away and leaving me and my dog here in our home in Tampa Bay. And then I moved to Boca Raton. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be an attempt to embrace fear and connect with you all who are watching here today. So if you're in the chat and you're wondering what the hell's going on, let me tell you about what the hell is going on. This is a religion that I founded in 2014 after I tripped a certain ego-suppressing compound on the shores of Boca Raton after my niece bought me an improv class because she thought I looked sad. And she was right. At that time, I was at rock bottom. I was selling seashells by the the seashore to support my video game addiction. As you just heard me sing about, my dog had left me and my wife ran away straight into the Everglades. And so if you're here, we'd love to talk to you about your sources of information. We'd love to encourage you to be a fact warrior. Okay, because every single time that we are online or consulting any information in this world, we are victims in an information war. That's right. And so what we must do at all times is fight back, push back, and be fact warriors. When we are online, we best be spreading fact-based information that aligns with small d democratic values, because Steve Bannon is flooding the zone with shit to destroy democracy. That is his avowed program that he is on, and it is the program of Christopher Rufo. It is the program of Sean Hannity. It is the program of everyone in the right-wing disinformation and propaganda complex to confuse our fellow Americans, to follow the Vladimir Putin playbook of destroying all trust in society. I recommend the book Nothing is True and Everything is Possible by Peter Pomerantsev, which is about Vladimir Putin's mafia state that he's created, and the way that when you destroy an authoritarian's deal is to destroy trust and faith in a society, trust and faith in institutions, trust and faith in journalism, okay? So Donald Trump has begun the program from 10 years ago. He has started saying that the press is the enemy of the people. You only say that when you want to destroy faith in a bedrock of democracy. Journalism is an inoculator. It is an immunization against harms to the public. Elon Musk wants to talk about fraud, waste, and abuse. Well, let me tell you, journalism has been exposing fraud, waste, and abuse for as long as this country has existed, okay? And simultaneously, there have been people who have used their journalism appearance to spread yellow journalism, to spread jazz age journalism. There was new journalism in the 1970s. These times where we have had, as the Rand Corporation, who is sometimes good and sometimes bad, has described for us, truth decay. Okay, we are living in a post-truth society here in America right now. Our fellow Americans are being inundated with a disinformation stream of information, and all we want, all we work for here at the Megachurch of Joy is for people to become fact warriors once again, for people to become hooked back onto a fact-based source and stream of information. We have two main sources of information in this country. We have the dominant right-wing media ecosystem that is full of propaganda and disinformation and has been created for us by right-wing billionaires over the last 60 years, okay? And then we have a mainstream, commercialized corporate system for informing the public that has many problems in itself, but it is largely based in fact, and the people who work there are committed to journalism and fact in the public interest. Do you know what I'm saying? And then outside, a little adjunct of that commercialized corporate system for informing the public, we have nonprofit and independent media also reporting in the public interest. And now it is so hard to know who to turn to, where to turn to get fact-based information in this world. And so that is what we do every single day at Public Enlightenment. And if you agree with that program, if you also want to be a fact warrior, we are advertising our Discord today. If you would like to join our Discord and become part of this growing community where we also engage in the tenets of quality improvisational comedy, we lift people up, because when you are doing improv, you need to have open energy, you need to support others, you need to commit to others, you need to give to others, you need to be grateful for others, and you need to agree with others. We are listening to what Madison is saying in the chat, and we are so sorry, Madison, that your cousin is hooked to the disinformation ecosystem. It is hard for people to even see the hypocrisy of RFK, because they are constantly making new excuses and new reasons why it's okay for RFK to have spent his entire adult life speaking out against vaccines and causing people to not take vaccines, and contributing to the death of people in Samoa, and contributing to the death of these children in these Mennonite communities. We did not used to have measles outbreaks, right? But now we do because of this health disinformation, right? Because of the MAHA movement, which is just a disinformation movement, okay, by a guy who is, you know, packing lips at congressional hearings, right? A guy who is not healthy in any way in his own right, who is, you know, rumored to have destroyed his voice because of so much steroid intake. You know what I mean? So look, this is the deal. We fight back against that at all times, and we need to grow this community. We need this community to grow so that I can keep doing this work for all of you. Best viewers on Streambo. Okay, so somebody's watching on Twitch, and it is a bot, okay? So we just got something from a bot on Twitch, and great. Cool. Now, if you are in the Substack, what would you like to talk about? We want to get you to engage with this community. Normally, we are on TikTok Live. We were banned from TikTok Live because we were said to have been spreading. Madison, we want to support you. Can everyone type into the chat, yes, and we love you and we support you, Madison. Madison is worried for her children, for her cousin's children, right? Because they are all born very early and already not very healthy. She doesn't know how to save them, and it's really upsetting. That is what Madison is telling us in the chat, and we are grateful for you, Madison, and we love you and we support you, okay? Everyone is doing the best they can with what they have, and unfortunately, your cousin is hooked up to a disinformation stream of information, and that is a scary thing, okay? And so we say, yes, we hear your fears, Madison, and we love you. We say, yes, Madison, you are afraid for your nephews and nieces, and we support you and we hear you, and we are grateful that you shared your fear with us, because another thing that we do here is we talk about our relationship with fear. Everyone has a relationship with fear. Our God in this world is Todd, the God of fear, who at all times is in control of our energy unless we work on our relationship with fear, unless we use the tools of quality improvisational comedy to push back against fear. And we learn that fear is nothing more than a giant dickhead, than a playground bully. And so we walk towards fear and we embrace him and we lessen his power over us, and we get that much closer to joy. But there is so much joy that is not happening in this world. There are so many attacks on our ability to have joy in this world. When you have so many people spreading disinformation and tuning the algorithms to make us hate and divide each other, that is not good for anyone. Sean Johnson, welcome. We love you, Sean Johnson. What are your sources of information? That's what we talk about here. We talk about how we need to be fact warriors every single moment that we are online. If you are not being a fact warrior when you are online, please get offline, read a book, go for a walk, call a friend, connect with someone, tell someone that you love them. We need more love and support in this world in the face of the information war that is being waged against us at all times by disinformers like Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin, like Steve Bannon, like Christopher Rufo. It is insane that Gavin Newsom would invite Steve Bannon onto his show and Charlie Kirk onto his show to normalize and legitimize these enemies of democracy, these people who are contributing to the immiseration and death of our fellow Americans and fellow global citizens around the world. At the beginning of this, I didn't really realize how many people would blindly latch on to the anti-vax false information. It's so many. Yes, Madison, that is because every single day, every single place online, there is an alternate reality that is being created for our fellow Americans. Just look at how divided we are. We are fighting and shouting across each other on social media. We are seeing debate shows like Jubilee, which are so toxic and so detrimental to our society. Jubilee's fact checker is a right-wing billionaire-run organization called Straight Arrow News that gets rated by our media bias fact check sites as a center, right? It is not center. It is run by a right-wing billionaire who in 2012 was shopping around an anti-Obama campaign that was born of racism to say that he was a metrosexual Kenyan Muslim or something like that, okay? We've written about that at publicenlightenment.com in our piece about media bias fact checks. So what we want you to understand, those who are joining on Substack, are you still here? We would love to hear from you. Can you share something? Can you speak and say that you are alive in the chat? We would love to hear from you and talk to you about how you feel about our information ecosystem. because I am an information nutritionist. I am Rev Deuce, and I am your information nutritionist who is so excited to have more and more people coming in on the Substack. What would you like to hear me talk about? Let's talk about our Substack for 1 second, and let's talk about some of the tools that I've created here in Public Enlightenment for all of you, okay? Let's transition to this. We know that we are in an information war at all times. We have all been conscripted into an information war, even if we do not want to have been taking a part in it at all. So Michelle Richardson, M. Frank, Sean Johnson, Mad Woman, Rose Tony, Rhea, are you still here with us? We want to talk to you about what is going on in the world. And we want you, now we want you to see what's happening on Public Enlightenment, okay? We want you to see that we've written about fact-based influencers that you can repost now to flood the zone with facts, okay? What else do we have here? We have our piece about context. Musk isn't doing efficiency. He's destroying our financial system for personal gain. You can spread that so that more people can see the reality of what's happening at all times. Okay? You can also go to Public Enlightenment's Blue Sky account, and you should get a Blue Sky account because you are a fact warrior who cares about the integrity of information and knows that all of our problems in society are the result of information, okay? We ended up with this reality that we have right now because we have all sat on our hands while an information war rages all around us. We've sat on our hands and we have not flooded the zone with facts in the face of people like Steve Bannon flooding the zone with shit. So please, if you're here on the Substack, please comment. Let me know that you're here and talk to me about your interactions with our information ecosystem. And so if you go onto our Blue Sky here, you can find the lists that we have created. And on those lists, we have fact checkers, diverse opinion, historians, legal experts, and the news, media critics, political science, and disinfo experts. Now, these are people that I have vetted over the course of my time becoming an information nutritionist, okay? And I have done this work pro bono for myself and for the Media and Democracy Project, which I co-founded. And then I said, look, guys, I got to go and start being a crazy preacher online to talk to people about our information ecosystem. So Nancy Sleater, Betsy Wright, let's talk about our information ecosystem. Let's check in on the diverse opinion list that we have. So we have Oliver Willis, who used to write for Media Matters for America. He said it would have been nice if Democrats touted the economy when they were in charge instead of allowing the right to fill up the vacuum of silence with bullshit. The only Democratic president in my lifetime who seems to have understood this dynamic was Clinton. Okay, that's some perspective that we think, we should get diverse opinion on what's going on. Oliver Willis is a very acerbic voice. Brandon Friedman is a political scientist. He said yesterday, he's quoting someone, "Student Veterans of America. Yesterday, I had the incredible privilege of bringing 30 of our student veterans and staff to the White House by President Trump for a special celebration honoring the Los Angeles Dodgers." Now, this is appalling. There are many veterans who understand that their benefits are being destroyed. There are many veterans who understand. So this is fascinating. If you are a veteran, how do you feel about this? Okay, Max Kennerly says Sachs is running against Mike Lawler, who is a Republican and of course sucks. And normally I would not say behavior in high school should define a person, but I'm confident none of you did whatever the hell this was from Lawler. So apparently this is reporting from... Interesting. Wow, it's getting wild out there. This is how our campaigns are these days. We are at each other's throats in this world. So this is reporting, it looks like font from the Washington Post or the New York Times. In 2005, as a high school senior, Mr. Lawler flew from New York to California to attend parts of Jackson's criminal trial. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is, I mean, I trust Max Kennerly. He's a fact-based person online, but that is some wild shit. So look at manufacturing, okay? This is according to, what is Fred? I forget what Fred is. There's so many acronyms these days. But total construction spending, manufacturing in the United States. Look at how hard manufacturing was hit under socialist Sleepy Joe. That's said tongue-in-cheek. But so could, because Barteramo is saying increasingly people are expecting we're heading for a recession. I spoke with the CEO over the weekend. He said we're already in one. So how do you deal with that? So it's just lies all the time. We're actually going to save that We're going to save that and we're going to put it into. Now, when we start to go back onto TikTok Live, what we are going to do. Now, the people who've come in on Substack have said nothing. And I love you and I'm grateful for you. And so we want to hear about you. How will you love someone today? How will you lift someone up today? Let me see. I need to get media effects. No, what do I got? I need to file this away because this is a good thing. What is on the bottom here? Disinfo origins, bias myth, propaganda outrage machine. Okay, this is the propaganda outrage machine. And this is Barda Romo and Becent lying about manufacturing under Biden. And so I build all of this stuff up so that I can make the arguments that I make on social media, so that I can make the articles that I make on Public Enlightenment, okay? So are you joining me? Are you a fact warrior with me? Okay? That's what we need. And so I build all of this stuff up. Brother. So let's view all of the most popular things on publicenlightenment.com. And how will you be a fact warrior today? How will you spread fact-based information that aligns with small d democratic values every single day? How will you tell someone about how Barry Weiss is a grifter brought to you by billionaires? How will you share with people where to find national news that tells us what's really going on? How will you share with people that Joe Rogan is the most political podcast on the planet? How will you share with people the 4 websites where they can find peaceful protest and actions that they can take every day? How will you share with people the context that the Trump and Elon are consolidating power and stealing your money and giving it to rich guys? How will you share with people? Now, this one I posted to the wrong place in people's podcast episode that I've ever created, okay? I need your support. I need you to share these things with as many people as possible. And we will start to grow this thing and we will build it and it will become incredible. All right, so I love you, you love me. I have to get to work on some other things. I'm so grateful for you, especially the beautiful adherence of the tub. I'll tell you what, folks. I'll tell you what, Vargas Paris family. What I'm encountering is that with this new space where there's not really a lot of people coming in, and the people are coming in who are readers of publicenlightenment.com and subscribers to that, I feel a pressure to behave slightly differently and talk a little bit less about the program of love and support and commitment and energy here. It's easier for me when I'm understanding and interacting with the people in the chat who are talking back to me. And so I'm struggling a little bit, to be honest, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm so happy. And, I was a little less joyful today, and I got to work on that. So I'm going to come back tomorrow even stronger, and I'm going to keep building this, and we are going to do this, and I'm going to figure some stuff out. I'm going to start strategizing even better. It's just so hard. There's so much to do. I still haven't figured out how to have people... I still haven't figured out, David, I do not know exactly what you mean by do it for clips. I still have not figured out exactly how to get people to call in. Because if people could call in, first of all, no one is seeing this on social media right now, right? People are seeing it on publicenlightenment.com. People are seeing it on publicenlightenment.com. They're coming in, and no one has commented once today, except for someone in the very first minute. And so I know that nobody likes to hear someone complain, and I appreciate that I'm complaining a little bit, and I'm engaging in fear's program of doubt and grousing and inadequacy, and I'm feeling that right now, feeling that in this moment, and life is nothing but a series of moments. Can you get the Discord connected to the stream? Yes, but that is one way that people have talked about that they can, get, hey, Truth Factor, how are you? One way people have talked about online that you can get call-ins into your live stream is to use a Discord. There's another thing called Ninja VDO, but I do not know exactly, what does that look like? I give people the Discord link during my show? Yeah. Let's just do something real quick. Let's just take a look. You know what? Look, we're just going to do it live. Fuck it, we're doing it live. So we're going to go to the Discord, and we're going to see if I could get one of you to call in right now. Okay, this is the Megachurch of Joy, everybody. Hey, welcome. We are fact warriors. What we do is we spread fact-based information that aligns with small d democratic values at all times. So here we are in the Discord, and what we do here is we have the Fact Warrior section where I drop all of the stuff that we talk about every single day in our live stream. So if you want to join the Discord, we would love for you to do that. Now, David or Madison, are you able to get in here? And then, but how do I... Let's see. So we could open up, we could make a new channel, and it would be called something like Create Invite. Now, I think there's a way to create an invite that is... there's something called VDO, Ninja VDO, and you can have a so I could like copy this, for instance, and now look, does someone in the Substack want to join me live? Okay, this is what we're going to do. And I guess this is an experiment, and it may be a bad idea. But that has never stopped me before. Now, how do I get into the chat of this? Okay, here we go. This is very meta if you were on the Discord. If you were on the... Okay, now I've dropped... No, that's not... What the heck? Hold on. Discord, copy. I copied it. Copy. Why isn't it not pasting? Thank you, David. You're being so sweet. So it's not copying, maybe because this is a private channel. Do we have a public speaking channel? No, we do not. Friggy, fraggy, friggy, frag. Let's do this one. Create invite. Let's copy this one and see if I can post it into Substack. No. Hold on. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with me. But if you are in Substack, I especially would like you to stay for a second. I'm going to make... Okay. Rec room. Age restricted. Video bitrate. User limit. How do I... Permissions. Private channel. Make it unprivate. Okay. It's now unprivate. Okay. That's now unprivate. Let's leave that. Escape. What the frig? Save changes. Escape. Oh, look at all this. What is this? That's a different thing. Okay. Now I changed that. Now I gotta leave that. Now I gotta copy. Create invite. Copy. This is work that I would be doing offline. No! Y'all, I cannot figure it out, and it's making me so sad and so frustrated. And now people are just watching me be frustrated online, and that is, well, just about the worst thing ever. So we are so grateful for those of you who have been here today and who are talking with us today. I do not understand anything. Invites. Invites. Invite code. No. You can revoke or create one. Create one. I don't understand. Does anyone understand? Is this how I would do it, David, do you think? Integrations. I don't know what that is. No. No. Why can't I just give this to people? Discord. Why can't I just give this to people? Could I put it in a different chat? Could I put it, for instance, in the YouTube chat? Go to YouTube. Go to live, viewing our channel. We are live right now. A chat will come up over here. Can I just give this to people? Could I put it in? Turn off the music. We'll turn off that. We'll do copy. Yo, can someone explain this to me? This is what I do all the time. When I'm not on the thing, I just fail. I just fail. All I do is fail. and I'm feeling very, very defeated, and I love you all, and I support you, and I'm so grateful for you. But why would this not work? Look, we're just going to troubleshoot this live, okay? How do I share? How do I use Discord for call-ins during a live stream? If anybody on Substack knows, that would be great. Okay. This post was deleted. Install Discord on your phone. What's next? What do you mean call in? If they join the Discord server, you should be able to hear them in the stream if the live stream from your phone is picking up the audio from your phone. Link to join it. Create a room for random people to join. And you create a room that is locked where you can only enter and then put someone into that wants to talk. Pull someone into. What does that mean?
You are watching knowledge है स्टेट का अपने फ्रेंडों के साथ ग्रुप में चैट कर सकते स्टोर से डाउनलोड कुछ ऐसा पेज खुलेगा जो
I don't know. I don't know, gang. I don't understand. I'm sad. Maybe this whole group is locked. So here we go. Let's see. We're going to open. Mute server, notification settings, server settings. Hey, Emma Online, how you doing? Are you a real person? Create channel. Emma Online, what we are doing is we are trying to make it so that people can call in using a Discord. Emma Online thinks that she is a real person. Okay, voice. Voice. Channel name. Call in. Let's call it live stream call in. Okay, live stream call-in, not a private channel. Only selected members and roles will be able to view this channel. Wait, no. Okay, create channel. Where is it? Live stream call-in. Okay. Copy. But see, then I have to put that on the screen and I have to get people to join it. You know what I mean? And I don't think that that makes sense. I think I need to use this Video Ninja or whatever. Now let's do this. Does this work? No, it still doesn't copy and paste. You guys, I am getting the most frustrated you have ever seen Rev Deuce, a being of light and joy and agreement. And I'm getting so frustrated, and I love you all so much. Emma, are you someone who understands Discord? Because I legitimately cannot figure this out. And it is making me so sad and so upset. What if I just hand copy it? I am freaking out, Vincent J. Skidolski, and I'm not doing a good job. Oh, okay. Well, that worked. Okay, Vincent J. Skidolski, are you able to now? Are you able to join live? Can you get in there, Vincent J. Skidolski? can you join the live stream call-in channel? And I want to, what do I want to do? I want to mute myself in here. Turn off my microphone in there. Now, Vincent J. Skidolski or anyone in there, can you join this? I would love to know if you can join it. And then what I guess I would have to do is I would have to come into this space. Oh my God, look at what's happening on the screen. Let's just get something else up there. Let's get something else up there. Now, this was interesting, and I wanted to cover this today. But can anyone, Madison, how do I get this to you? Madison, can you jump in there and at least see if that'll work? I'm just failing. I'm failing at this game. Okay, now Madison, am I able to control you? Because the thing is that people could just join. Okay, can people you can't hear me at all. What about now? You can hear me. Now, David, are you still here? This is insane, Madison. This is insane. Now, David, can you still hear me? And what am I even looking at? Okay, let me go back to my OBS. David, can you hear me? And can you hear Madison? And Emma online, can you hear? Now that's disinformation. We don't want that on the screen. Emma can only hear me. Yeah, keep talking. Madison, tell me a story, and let's set you up. Oh gosh. Emma, we're so grateful for you. We are so grateful, Emma, that you are trying to help us troubleshoot. And so, Emma, you say, I can just hear you. Emma, can you hear Madison when she's talking? Madison is talking. We are hearing Madison. Can you hear it? No, you cannot hear it. Okay, so honestly, screw Discord. I'm so angry. How do I make it so that people can hear you? So people can hear me. Open the soundboard. Start an activity. Share your screen. Turn on the camera. No. Noise suppression by PowerCrisp. Disconnect. No. Oh, good. Settings of the channel. Slow mode. Age restriction. Bit rate. Video quality. User limit. What are people even talking about online when they say that this is a solution? Now, how do I change my whole Discord settings? Oh, I do not like to be Deuce and being upset. I do not like it at all. I do not like to be an upset Deuce. Voice and video settings. Hold on now. Voice. Is this for everyone? Oh, input device, output device. Output device. Is this for me or for everyone? When others speak, hold on, lower the volume, no. Enable quality of service, no. Okay, Emma, are you still here? And does this do something? Output device, default, digital audio. Now, can you hear me still? And now, Madison, would you please speak? Madison? Oh no, now I can't hear Madison. Oh my God, holy crap. You think the problem is on OBS? But so I have my desktop audio. So Emma, I think that I have my desktop audio. And so to me, that means that every single thing that comes across my desktop that I can hear should also be heard. And also, Emma, who are you? I love you. This is incredible. This is so great that you're here and you're trying to help us. because we should not be doing this. Well, Emma's 24. That's beautiful. We love you for that. The youth. And you know what we do here normally, Emma, is we talk about information and our information ecosystem and how we can all be fact warriors, and we talk about our relationship with fear. And maybe you've been here before and I'm just forgetting, and I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. How will you make people look like a rock star today? How will you change the world today by being a fact warrior at all times? You've never been here. Well, we're so grateful. We love your greeting. You came and you said, hello, gamers. It's almost like Steve Buscemi in that meme. Hello, fellow teens. Window capture. No, there's nothing going on there. We've got desktop mic. Oh, mic. Oh, do we not have desktop audio in this situation? Audio mixer. Let's see. What do we do? Meditation music, window capture, mic. Oh, that's interesting. Thanks, Emma. Now, that's interesting. So, Emma, But normally, Emma, I have there's like desktop audio, and I don't know how to add that right now. First of all, let me make it so that I can hear Madison again. Okay, now we did that. So Madison, I can hear you again. No, they cannot hear you. So there's something in OBS, which I do not think I should. Emma, do you know how OBS works? Because so what I have is an audio mixer. And so what I would need to add to this scene and all the scenes, I guess, is I would need to add audio output capture. Okay, and then we'll do that. And then we'll say audio output capture. Oh, OBS is pretty complex, but the thing is I spent a month mastering it, and then I got TikTok Live and I stopped using it. So let's see if we do this. And I like your outfit, giving Uncle Rico. Emma, we love you. Emma, you are a new adherent to the tub, and we are so grateful for you. So audio. Well, back in 82, I could throw a football quarter mile. Back in 82, I could throw a football over those goddamn mountains over there. Now, what about now, Emma? Can you hear Madison? No. Okay. So it didn't come up though. So oh wait, hold on. What if we do this? Here, now go. I'm not getting audio output capture is not the way, apparently. Oh, wait a second. That's because it's not in. Wait, no, this is main tub. Audio output capture. Hey, everybody in Substack, we're troubleshooting, and we're so grateful that you're here, and we're so sorry this is not our regularly scheduled programming. So audio output capture is not the way. Properties. Default.
Oh,
what about?
Is Emma still here?
Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Emma, can you hear that?
Did you hear me? Ask if you were still there.
Yeah.
Yay! It's working.
Now, is it working if I go over to here? Madison, keep talking. No, I need to add you to every type of tub. Oh, this is so frustrating. But okay, so that's a live call-in. Now, Emma, would you like to call in? Emma, would you like to call in? Wait, which one has it? Can't even remember which one has it right now. Wait, which one did I have it in? Okay, so that, okay. Emma, would you like to try calling in? We would be grateful for you to call in, Emma. And so in order to, I'm down, but do you mean on Discord? See, that's the problem. It just needs to be like a Skype phone number that is on the screen, right? Like I can't be relying on. So Emma, we will give you the link. You are in Twitch. Okay, so that means that how I have to go to Twitch. Okay, hold on. So I have to go to Discord. I have to set this up ahead of time. I have to create the invite, hidden, use copy button. What the frig? Why is it hidden?
Wait, the copy button doesn't work. What if you just went to the Substack and then copy what you copied before?
Oh, golly gee willikers, holy bazolies. This makes me want to jump into the ocean. Does that even work? Okay, now we got to go to Twitch. This is getting insane. Emma, we love you. And so,
we still don't know if the link works because I got in here just by going to the Discord.
Oh, crap. Really? Okay, let's go to Public Enlightenment on Twitch channel. Okay, let's go to Public Enlightenment. Where's the chat? Channel. Is there a chat? Uh-oh. Cover your ears. Chat? Is there a chat? How do I see the chat? Where's the chat? Twitch is updated. I accept.
Chat in the Discord?
No, the chat in Twitch.
Oh.
Oh, God.
We're troubleshooting.
Oh, God. Where's the chat?
Marley just got on the porch and she's offering her support.
Hey, Marley, we love you. We're so grateful for you. Emma, what? Emma's like, this rocks. Emma, I don't see the friggin' chat. How? How do people chat? How are you chatting? Just chatting. Literally, it's called just chatting. So sad. No. What? Just pull up the link again on the screen. Just pull up the link again on the screen. Laughing my ass off. Why wouldn't there be a way for me to chat? I mean, are you kidding my daddy right now?
You should be able to chat.
Do you know where the chat is in Twitch?
I know that people can stream. Twitch can chat.
Well, that's
Emma,
exactly.
What am I doing right and wrong? Well, obviously I'm doing everything wrong.
Do you know how to do it?
Should I Google?
Yeah.
Oh.
Marley's hopping on Google. We're going to see if we can figure it out.
And now there's another person in here. Well, we're grateful for you, but how do I chat? How do I put something into the chat? Why can't I find the chat? Oh, God, I want to shoot myself into space right now.
There's 3 horizontal dots.
Are there 3 horizontal dots in the top right corner,
no,
says
there
Marley?
are 3 vertical dots.
Oh.
Opposite.
Oh, I found it. Jeez Louise, holy bobees. Okay, Emma, can you use that link to join us? But again, this isn't going to work because I have that link. I guess people can see it on the screen, but like, oh, yes.
Oh, it worked.
Hello, Emma.
Hey.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Now we need verification from a. Now let me get back to OBS.
Marley, do you have it up?
Now we need verification. Emma, how are you?
Oh, you know I'm vibing. I'm out here.
You're vibing. Emma, what are your sources of news and information?
If I'm gonna be real with you, ground news, because it like takes all of it and puts it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, of course we always want you to be real with us, Emma, because there's no other way to be.
Yeah, but like it's called ground news. It's like an app that takes everything and tells you the political bias.
Yeah.
And then shows it to you.
Yeah, I know all about ground news. And now can we just do a little segment here where we look at ground news live? Because so ground news has clearly decided that they are going to do a massive, now let me just change over here. This is so fun. Are you having fun, Emma?
No.
Oh, damn it. Crap. Now, Emma, you are a cheeky bugger, and we love that. So now we've got the chat on the screen. We've got live call-in happening, although it probably will be super wonky because how am I going to get it across all of the streams? I still believe that it should be a phone number on the screen, and I learned that there's something with Skype called NDI, but I don't want to have to pay any money for any of this. And then there's the reality that we will have trolls who do come in and start saying horrible words and stuff, and I can't do anything about that because I do not have a censor button like you have in other broadcasts. Okay. Right, but I do not know if someone is a troll ahead of time, and so they may get a few N-words in. You know what I mean? Okay, so I bring someone in, and then I have to be in the Discord. So behind the scenes right now, I'm in the Discord, and so I would have to be ready to, like, mute you, and so I'll mute you right now, and so Emma, you can say that you're vibing and we can't hear you, but so I have to be ready to mute someone. You are vibing. Emma, we love you. Emma, we love you. So Emma uses ground news. So okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna close out yeah, Emma, you definitely belong here. So Emma, what we do here is first of all, Emma, you deserve so much love and attention right now, so I'm gonna give it to you, okay? If that's okay. If you consent to love and attention, we're going to give it to you right now. Okay, so Emma, what you are watching, I am Rev Deuce, and I founded this religion called the Megachurch of Joy in 2014 after I tripped a certain compound on the shores of Boca Raton after my niece bought me an improv class because she thought I looked sad, okay? And so I was at rock bottom. My niece was correct at that time. I was selling seashells by the seashore to support my video game addiction. And my dog had left me and my wife ran away. Oh, wait a second. If I do that, hold on. Hold on 1 second. I need to copy this and then I need to paste it into the screen share tub. Oh, wait, no. No, wait a second. Oh, we couldn't hear Emma anymore. Okay, holy crap, y'all. This is... Yeah, hold on. Paste a reference. Okay, now we across both tubs. I think we can hear everybody. But so,
what I really don't like about this is that when you're on, like, in the Discord talking, YouTube... At least on YouTube, I don't know about Twitch and Substack, but YouTube won't let me see what you're doing anymore.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, because it I guess it can't play 2 sound sources at one time or something.
Oh, God.
Well,
Which won't be a problem when we're watching on our TV, but, like, I'm guessing most people aren't doing that.
Emma, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, at least for me personally, I have the Twitch open and muted because I don't want to hear myself twice, but, like, obviously I'm still able to be in the chat. And then what else I would say is, if we have that link, right, and you're nervous about it, you can always just have the second channel that says, like, live stream call in, like, official, and then people go into the first chat, and then you drag and drop them into the second chat. And so then that's the safe people chat. And then you can, like, throw them back into the other chat room if they start, like, throwing slurs at you.
And so you drag and drop. I can literally drag and drop. Now, hold on. And what could I could drag you into moment.
Drag and drop me to the rec room.
Who said that?
Oh, we love the
Madison
rec room.
Said that? Wait, Emma,
No,
you're in the Discord, okay. Now,
Yeah.
Emma, you might not have permissions to the rec room.
But you can drag and drop me because you're the guy.
You know what? It's not.
You're right. He is the guy. Oh.
Okay, I dragged and dropped Emma to the rec room. Looks like
and
you're
then
in
you
another
No, yeah, you did it. You successfully moved me, and now I came back here.
Okay.
It works.
Okay, interesting. So this is a lot,
Yeah.
and everybody can hear
I'm
everybody.
right.
That's true.
I love being right.
Oh, Emma.
Yeah, I can hear
Emma is so funny. We love Emma. Okay, wait, let's get back to the spiel for Emma, and let's make sure everybody can hear, and I think everybody can. So Emma, and my niece was right, okay, because I was at rock bottom at that time. I was selling seashells by the seashore to support my video game addiction, and my dog had left me, and my wife ran away straight into the Everglades, never saw her again. And I had little hope of ever achieving my dream of understudying Mr. Mistopheles at the Boca Raton Community Theater. And so while I was standing there on the shores of Boca Raton, fear appeared to me in the image of one of them Benedict Cumberbatch dragons, you know, from the Lord of the Rings movies. And he was wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey of all things. And so he appeared to me, and he started calling me a piece of shit, and he was telling me what a loser I was. And I realized something in that moment. I realized that fear was actually what was in control of my life, that fear had been the one keeping me from doing all the things, keeping the energy in me that told me I should go and do a thing, be a New York City actor, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And I realized that fear was our God. And I also realized that fear is nothing more than a playground bully. He's just a giant dickhead. And so I came to understand, because I was also taking this level 1 improv class, that it's better to live our life according to our own energy and according to our own program than it is to live our life according to fear's program. And so what we learn in improv is that we have the 6 tenets of quality improvisational comedy: our energy, support, commitment, giving, connection, and gratitude, okay? And so what we do is, in this religion, we practice those, and we know that it's better to listen and to agree with people. We know that it's better to try to commit to the ideas of others even when they don't make sense to us, because when we connect with others, that is the surest path. Human connection is the surest path to joy. And so then what we also do here is, I am an information nutritionist. And so I've spent the last 5 years of my life coming to understand our information ecosystem and the 2 streams of information that we get in America, right? We get the right-wing disinformation propaganda stream of information, and then we get the mainstream commercialized corporate system for informing the public that has plenty of flaws, but is largely, as best as it can be, in spite of that, based in fact. And so when we see half the country cheering for the destruction of our country, and then we see the other half of our country taking to the streets, and maybe we see like a little bit of other people who have no idea what's going on, and a lot of us have no idea what's going on, we come to understand that every single day we are being divided by the billionaires and oligarchs who own the means of communication and who tune the algorithms to divide us and have us shouting at each other and incentivize us to create debate TikToks where nobody is doing anything other than listening to the stream of information that they support. So if you have a fact-based influencer who's doing a debate TikTok, well, fact-based people are going to be like, yeah, that guy's right, he's winning this debate. But it's not like you're convincing anybody who's hooked up to the disinformation stream of information, because they're just going, yeah, the person who's sharing all this stuff that I see on RSNBN and OANN and Real News Network and Fox Propaganda Network, they're saying what's right about the world because they have had an alternative reality created for them. Emma, what do you think about all of that?
Yeah, no, I think there's like a lot there in what you shared, and I think it's one of those things where it's, I don't know, when it comes to misinformation, it's something that I like, yeah, it's I don't know, I feel like surrounded being surrounded in like so much garbage. It makes it really easy to just like kind of take the slop. And obviously when people be talking, they're like, yeah, I just like turn off the news, I just like disengage with it, which is like their own kind of thing. But I also think that that's how nothing changes. But it's also like, what are we the fuck supposed to do? I'm just a girl, like I can't change everything, and the things that need to be changed no one wants to change because the system is working as designed. The rich are getting richer, as Democrats want, and the like kind of marginalized populations are getting more marginalized, as the Republicans want.
So Emma, let me talk to you for 1 second about that. Now everybody, so what we do in the Tub is we listen to and we appreciate the ideas of everyone. So Emma, we are so grateful for the ideas that you just shared and your view of the world that you just shared. And so I'm gently going to ask you about what you just said about the Democratic Party. because it is my belief, it is the belief in the tub, okay, that
Yeah.
it is the belief in the tub that we only have one viable opposition party currently to the extreme radicalism of the other party, the Republican MAGA party, that is attempting coups, that is lying about elections, right? We still have only one opposition party who even has members of it who are introducing legislation into Congress to end Citizens United, right? Like, there's only one party, though flawed as it may be, and we all have a problem with American imperialism in the tub. But so there is a diversity of thought and opinion and of constituents and of representatives in the Democratic Party that does not exist necessarily, or does not exist at all, in the Republican Party of elected officials I'm talking about. So I wonder, where have you gotten your ideas and your thoughts about the Democratic Party? And do you believe this kind of stuff about like a uniparty?
Yeah. No, and I guess when it comes to that, I feel incredibly frustrated by the government in general. I am somebody who believes in microcosms of good. I am somebody who has been like a huge advocate for mental health. That's the work I do daily. And
that's
I
incredible.
think that's great and fine or whatever. But the thing that's really frustrating to me is like, when we start saying it's the lesser of two evils, right? And I think that's dangerous because that breeds complacency. And when it comes down to it, like the control that we have versus the control that we think we have is two very different things.
That's so fascinating.
And for instance, Palestine is something that I think the Democrats really love funding. They love funding the Israel Defense Force, right? They are constantly enthusiastic about not supporting, people in genocide.
Yes. Now, but is that across all of the party? And is there a party that we can fight for getting, elected representatives that represent what we believe, right? Like, we do have this reality of like an entrenched mainstream and a normalcy and a normie center of our country, right? Which is being ripped apart to shreds. But, I'm now a 44-year-old human being in this world. And so I remember a different time, right? Where it was like we just had certain gatekeepers in media and we had way less, polarization, right? Because we've also had this extremism of the right where, the elected officials on the right call the rest of us, everybody who's not MAGA, they called us scum and people who drink the blood of children and pedos and all this insane, wild stuff, right? The son of a president, Eric Trump, toured the country in something called the Great Awakening Tour, okay, with Mike Flynn, 4chan denizen, QAnon denizen Mike Flynn. He toured the country endorsing pastors who would come on stage and talk to the MAGA Republican fellow Americans, right, that we love and support because everybody's doing the best they can with what they have. So he would have these pastors, so Eric Trump would speak, and then he'd leave the stage, and then a pastor would come on, and he would literally look at the human beings in the audience and say, Democrats, this is a person purportedly of God, right, who these people believe they can trust, and say, Democrats are drinking the blood of children. So when we talk about what avenues we have to remedy any of this, are you disaffected, Emma? Or do you believe that we should still at least try to organize around candidates? Maybe you support the DSA. I don't know. Maybe you support, what kind of party do you support and what viable options do you see out there for yourself and your fellow humans who you consort with and who are your community, who believe the things that you do about the world and want a place where there is less violence and cruelty and domination?
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really good question. And when it comes down to the DSA and stuff, I used to have a lot of involvement with the Democrats of Socialism of America. But as I get older, I think the thing that I fucking hate is anything but local politics. When it comes to any sort of power, anyone seeking that power is not gonna. I like don't trust the government. If that's what we're talking about right now, like I fucking hate the government. Like I hate it. And I think when it comes to local government, there's a lot of things that can be supportive. I'm not gonna fuck with shit and say that there aren't like local governments supporting unions, local governments supporting like I don't know, like supporting like local families and LGBT like resources. And however, at the end of the day, the Democrats love power too. At the end of the day, in his first term, Trump deported less people than
Biden.
Obama in his first term.
And Biden.
And Biden. Absolutely Biden.
Sure. Absolutely. And so I think what we're talking about here, Emma, is how messy democracy is, right? And, you know, I want to talk to people who feel like they just have, you know, it sounds like you aren't sure what recourse you have at all. And you hate the government. Mm-hmm. And now what I like to talk about is our information ecosystem. And so what I'm about to do is I'm about to show you something. What I'm about to show you is just a little thing that I want to get stronger on, right? Because I call myself an information nutritionist. Now, can everybody still hear everybody? Because I transitioned to a different scene. Emma?
Nope, I'm gonna say something.
Okay, great. Oh, Emma,
Sorry,
it sounds
I've
like
actively spoken a little.
Sounds like you're hitting the peace pipe. Okay, and I don't know if we can talk about that on Twitch and YouTube. I have no idea. So let's be cool.
I'll be cool. Apologies, but I know it's fine on Twitch.
Okay, cool. Now, look, I want to show you something, and that went full screen. Gosh, by golly, technology. Am I right? Technology. Am I right? Okay. Now,
You are right.
What do I want to show you? And on Twitch, I can see the stream in real time. I don't know what that means, Madison, but I love you, and I'm so grateful that you can see the stream in real time, and I wish I could see the stream in real time. Okay, so let's see. Let me go through. I built this massive thing. This one just says lies. I don't even know what I have in there. But let's see. Info war. Where do I have that? Hold on. I got to get a handle on all my shit. Lies, propaganda, outrage machine, Mike Benz. Oh, I got to keep going. That's how many tabs I have. Okay. Info war. Oh, yeah, gosh, by golly. And now, do you know what? Well, how come Windows has never fixed their okay. Now, I'm so grateful for you, Emma. And Emma also, now what we also talk about here is our fears, and we talk about making other people look like rock stars. So let me see what I have here to talk about this. So how will you tell someone you love them today, Emma? How will you make someone else a rock star today? Where is
Can I share on the microcosms of good a little bit? Because I talked a lot about hate just now, and I feel like that's not all I am.
Oh, we love that. Okay, can everybody in the chat support Emma for redirecting her energy? Because one thing we talk about, Emma, is that we are all just sacks of energy looking to vibe on the same frequency. Light beams from the sky, and we catch it by eating or drinking. We are literally the sun's energy wrapped in flesh and bone. And when we are children in this world, we find it so easy to connect. And then we grow up in fierce patterns of doubt, shame, hate, domination, persecution, bigotry, guilt, and all that stuff. They come injected into us. And so what we learn as improvisers is that we can be in charge of our energy. And we know that that's hard for our depressed members of our community to hear. We know it's hard for people who are not there yet to hear, but we can be in charge of our energy just as we step onto the improv stage, and we can be high energy or low energy. And so we are so grateful, Emma, that you just thought about your energy and you thought about how you could redirect it. And so sorry for the interruption. I would love to hear you say about your new redirected energy towards something about microcosms of good.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, man. When it comes down to
You're
it,
funny. We love you.
when it comes down to it, there's two things, right? So I hate the government, but that doesn't mean there isn't love in my life. There's so much love in my life, and it has nothing to do with just me and individualism. Fuck that. Right? Going to community, right? Going to a place of mutual aid, a place where you can support each other, a place where I'm not gonna lie to you, like at the end of the day, there are like disparities when some people don't have jobs, you support them until they get the job. Like when they are in my friend group, you are my family. And I think for me, it has less to do with that and more to do with microcosms of good. So what do I do for work, right? Like I work at an outpatient facility for like folks like acute folks with mental illness. And that makes sense to me and is a good time. But what is for that, the reason I'm bringing that up at all is because I like to spread that microcosm of good, right? Like I feel like I'm filling the cup with my job, so I need to fill my cup with my community, right? My people who we have support, we support each other, mutual aid, right? Like this idea that we're all in this together kind of thing. If we're gonna High School Musical it.
Yes, Ed. Is that a message in High School Musical? They say we're all in this together?
That quite literally is the ending song. We're all in this together, and we know where we are. We're stars, and I see that we're all in it.
Yes, Emma, we love you so much. And I guarantee you that Ron DeSantis and J.D. Vance hate High School Musical because of that ending message, let me tell you. Rev, you don't know High School Musical? No, I don't. And it's so funny because I do musical improv every Thursday. But the thing about me doing musical improv is that I just love to sing and make music, but I don't know a lot about musicals. Isn't that weird? Okay, so Emma, we love you, and we love this idea of microcosms of good. And one thing that we want to do with this community, because first of all, what we have to do is get every human being in America consulting more fact-based sources of information that are not meant solely to manipulate them, okay? And then what we have to do is build this community of love and support and of facts. And we encourage everyone to be a fact warrior every single time they're online. There's no real reason to be on social media unless you are connecting with people to uplift others and spread fact-based information to flood the zone with facts in opposition to disinformers who want to destroy democracy like Steve Bannon, who wants to flood the zone with shit. Okay, so we are so grateful for you, Emma, and your idea about mutual aid. And one thing we do want to do, now I'm honest, Emma, I talk about how I will eventually grift everyone. In fact, I actively am trying to get people to subscribe to the Substack and all of that. And, but because we want to grow this community. And one thing I do want to do, of course, after Rev Deuce gets his own, because I do need to make money off of this, I do spend a shitload of time doing it, and it's not working out for me so far. But I do want to build a mutual aid component to our Discord, which will be kind of difficult because it's like, how can we trust people across the internet? But we want to build a community of love and support and of understanding. And I'm so grateful for the friends in my own life, behind the character, who do take part in mutual aid in their communities. It looks like I'm in Boca Raton right now, sitting in a hot tub that I paid the local government to allow me a dispensation to put a hot tub on the beach. And I did. But I'm so grateful for my friends in my real life in New York City who are engaged in mutual aid. And now I consider what I do mutual aid because I am obsessed with all of us, because information is everything. Information becomes our outcomes in this world. And so this is my attempt to build a better world. And so I'm grateful for you for involving yourself in mutual aid. And I just want everybody in the chat to lift Emma up and tell Emma what a rock star she is and how beautiful she is as a person because she cares so much about others. And you mentioned earlier something about how mental health, and isn't it so effed up? This is why I think that there's a stark difference still between the two parties, and we have to still at least do our best to engage with the party that is still a traditional but flawed party, because the Republicans, they just ended the VA's suicide hotline. They ended that. And so that is like, if we talk about harm done across society, yes, Joe Biden's deporting people. Absolutely, that's bad, right? There's so much cruelty in all of those actions. But there are like microcosms of good, like you say. And so if we talk about removing the food from children for free lunches from a public education system, if we talk about removing, aid and medicine to HIV patients all over the world, millions of people will suffer, right? So there is there's nuance, isn't there, Emma?
Yeah. And I think for me personally, when it comes to wanting to defend the Democratic Party, I really struggle with that. But what I don't struggle with is individual bills, right? There are people doing supportive things, and at least for me, when we're talking about a politician, that is someone explicitly seeking power. For the greater good, maybe, but seeking power. At the end of the day, that's what somebody's doing, and I'm not really into that.
Emma, I understand completely. That speaks to me so deeply because I would like to help the world, and you have to kind of be in government if you want to have any say in steering government towards good, right? But what we often see is we feel like it corrupts people, right? And now I believe, and I know you believe, that if we were in government, we would not be corrupted, right? Like, I do not believe. I know who I am.
No, I think I would.
You think you would?
I think there's a reason why I seek the spaces I do, and I think people are influenced by their environment. I'm not proud to say that, but I am someone who says that I was negatively impacted by my environment and have changed by changing my environment.
Fascinating.
And if you're like attracted to that sort of environment, you're like intentionally going to that space. And I see, yeah, well, you're trying to change it. But the reason I'm here is because I care about politics and information. I do not care about the Democrats.
Well, yes,
I don't
queen.
Yeah. So I think for me, like, I've made some controversial political takes, and I'm okay with that. But that's just, you know, I feel really supported, I guess, in my community, and being able to say, I don't know, and I think it's a bigger thing, not to be shitty, but bringing up the whole like 24-year-old thing. A lot of my friends are sort of what is it? Disempowered by the government.
Okay.
And really jaded about it in general. So I feel like this is not just me.
No, absolutely. And so, Emma, oh, sorry, you were going to keep saying something.
No, please.
Emma, first of all, this is great. And I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that you are a human being in America who's talking to me about what you see and what is going on with you. And so thank you. Now, Emma, I want to show you something that I do not believe is necessarily how you have come to the place that you are. But what we have seen, especially with the right-wing disinformation and propaganda ecosystem, is that it started out as something that was being discounted maybe 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, QAnon and 4chan and everybody who's not, you know, doesn't watch Fox News knows that Fox News is a propaganda network, all this kind of stuff, right? But then in the last 10 years, we've had the rise of OANN, RSBN, all these like things that are propaganda meant to look like a news channel, meant to look right, but they are built solely for persuasion, not for journalism really in any way, right? And now what we see when we're online, which we looked at earlier today before you joined us and blessed us with your energy, but we see how instead of it being just like being able to be written off as bot accounts and AIs and troll farms, we're seeing regular Americans now start to be the disinformation agents themselves, start to have been so deeply affected by the propaganda and persuasion stream of information that they're connected to, that they then begin to repeat that, and that becomes their view on the world. Now, there's a quote, and I forget who to attribute it to, but from the 1960s, a political scientist, and he said, the news cannot necessarily tell you how to think or change the way you think, but it has everything to do with what you think about. And that's where we're at these days, and that's where we've always been at, right? There's no such thing as objectivity in journalism, and so whoever the gatekeepers have been at different times in our lives and in our society are the ones who direct our attention to the things that they believe are what should be directed to, right? But so I just want to point out, and this is something I want to work on more myself, and again, I'm not saying, but we had this major shift and this major change in our culture in terms of pro-Palestinian support, right? And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But what I'm saying is, it was remarkable to me. I've grown up in this world. I remember when it was almost considered like radical to even buy a book that, like, there was a book that was produced maybe in the 1990s, and it was about AIPAC, basically, and it was about Israel. It was called like the U.S.-Israel Lobby or something, right? And it was a very controversial book because we've always had this major major force of a narrative in this country that, like, across both aisles for sure, right? Like, we have to support Israel at all costs, right? And there has been this major shift in the last couple of years. And I wonder how organic all of that shift has been. And I want you to just stay with me, and I'm not saying anything about you and how you have arrived at your choices and ideas about the world. But I just like to point out for people the totality of the information war that is raging against all of our minds at all times, domestically and by foreign adversaries. So what I have here on the screen is an article, and look, we have problems with USA Today, but this is a fact-based article that has fact-based information in it. And so this is about a disinformation campaign from Iran that was specifically targeting liberal circles. And we know that Russian troll farms and that kind of a thing, they create memes that look like a Black Lives Matter activist and all that stuff, because the whole point is to destroy trust in America for anything, for institutions, in each other. That is the whole point of this information war that we have been conscripted into, whether we know it or not and whether we want it to be or not. So just let's look at this article really quick. So one meme on Facebook, for example, was a page called Progressive Front, which showed Michelle Obama holding a doctored sign that read, "An immigrant took my job." A swipe at Slovenia-born Melania Trump, okay? Then we have YouTube channels that feature videos such as everything you need to know about impeachment, right? We have fake pages and tweets and videos that were all part of a covert disinformation campaign by Iran that operated in the USA and other countries, okay? And now Iran has denied any involvement. And we now live in a world where when I've been on TikTok Live talking to MAGA folks, and I try to just bridge the divide that's been created for us, and I try to point out the information ecosystem that we all live in. Now, they'll just say, well, you can't trust the government. They'll say, oh, your source is PBS. Well, you can't trust that. So there's no trust for any of us in anything. But I believe we have to at least consult fact-based information that is part of widely reported stuff, right? And so we have this world where the objective, for instance, right, that has been outlined in this particular report is to hijack the political conversation to promote anti-Israeli, anti-Saudi, and pro-Palestinian themes and Tehran's interests around the globe, including U.S. policies favorable to Iran, such as a nuclear deal, which Trump scrapped in May that had lifted sanctions. So I'm not going to go deeper into it right now, but I just wanted to know what you thought about this reality that there are memes and accounts and social media accounts and, meme accounts on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok Live and all this, whose specific goal is to create an attitude that I don't necessarily agree with, and I know you don't, disagree with, and I know you don't disagree with it. But what do you make of that? What do you think of that?
Yeah, when it comes to like that bias coming in, at least for me, yeah, there's so much fucking shit when it comes to the influence of other countries and our countries on media. But when it comes to the like bias, I don't know. I think that like CNN has way more of a bias than maybe some Iranian memes, and way more of an influence.
That's fascinating.
And
Can
I'm
I hear more about that?
Yeah. So I guess when I'm saying shit like the CNN bit, I think a lot of the misinformation that's being spread doesn't have to do with what they're saying, but like what the implications are of like how everybody agrees. And in this way of like, don't get me wrong, Trump's a rapist. Trump is absolute Satan, but this whole like anything but Trump mindset is what's getting us further and further away from what we actually need. And it's income inequality. That is Bernie Sanders has been saying it. Bernie Sanders has been saying it. He's been talking about income inequality since before, I don't know, I can even remember history because I suck at American history, right? And it's like so fucking far away. Dude, I was learning about history as in like the 80s when I was in school.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that first of all, that's interesting because, you know, I was an American history major in college, and it's so funny because so this was the early 2000s, and because of the way that history is produced, right, there has to be time for more documents to come out. There has to be time to pass so that, like, you know, we can reflect and there can be new developments. So it's funny because all my history books ended basically in like 1980, which was funny because it was 20 years later, but that's just how history works, and we will certainly be getting a lot more information and understanding about where we are 20 years from now, about where we are right now. But so that's also what we do here, right? Because the thing that's happening in our society is that, yes, there's critiques that can be made of CNN, and I'm going to respond in just one second, but we also live in a space and a time where it's impossible for so many of us to have any idea about what's going on, because mainstream corporate commercialized media with its profit incentive is not always going to be contextualizing the information that we are seeing. And so that's what we strive to do here in the Tub and on publicenlightenment.com, is provide the context that people need to understand the news. Because oftentimes, like we are just talking about, that context only comes years later, but we are in a crisis moment, you know, in this country. We are about to be in a major recession. There's about to be more suffering, right? And it's in part because people did not understand enough going into the 2024 election. Again, I'm not trying to say that the Democrats are the be-all and end-all, but we would not have mass layoffs, the immiseration of more people around the world, the rendering to basically CIA black site equivalents of major labor camps, right? This would not be happening without due process. This would not be happening if we had voted a different way. And again, that is not to discount any of the critiques you have made earlier, but I think overall we're talking about global suffering. So I just want to talk really quick about CNN. Okay, so CNN, currently, the largest shareholder of CNN is a man who has the largest shares of Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of CNN, and his name is John Malone. And John Malone has come out in public and said that he first of all, he believes that Fox does journalism. A big surprise, billionaire. He believes Fox does journalism, and he thinks CNN should be more like Fox, right? And so he has a relationship with David Zaslav, and David Zaslav is the current person who's running CNN. And so he, from the top down, we always want to think about ownership when we talk about our media and our information and narrative and agenda. And so those guys are starting to work on CNN, and I'm seeing it more and more. And they are leaning CNN more and more towards the right, and the right in this country is hyper extreme.
I agree with that.
And so, but the origins of CNN also, origins of CNN are not what, so we've had, and the people who are here who are still watching, gosh, is anybody still watching? I mean, it's great if you and I are just having a conversation because I love you and I'm so grateful for you and your energy. But so they have seen me talk about this before. When MAGA folks come into the live stream and they say, you know, look, all the disinformation is coming from the left. Now, we know that that's just because the propagandists who have structured the right-wing propaganda ecosystem over the last 60 years, they tell them that all the time, and that's what they believe.
Can I ask you about something? I'm sorry for interrupting.
100p.
Yeah, so, like, Occupy CNN. You know what I'm saying?
Say more, my dude.
Occupy CNN. So Occupy CNN, in 2016, I was 16 years old, and Trump got elected. Bernie Sanders got scuffed by the DNC pretty hard, right? And there was, I definitely think if a lot of, can you Google Occupy CNN for me?
I sure can. Madison, how we doing? How are the numbers? Madison, are you driving around with a sign that says publicenlightenment.com wherever you drive? Occupy CNN. Oh, did I put too many N's? Well, we're working anyway. Let's see. Occupy movement, a year old. What is this like a movement?
I was literally thinking about merch this morning, and I'm not joking.
Okay, well, you are a graphic designer, and I need all the help I can get. And if we want Rev Deuce to do this for the rest of his life, we need to grift people and get them to give me money. So I need all the ideas and strategies we possibly can get, because I do believe that this is the way. Occupy CNN. Why the revolution will not be televised.
Over the weekend, there was a protest.
Is this what we're watching, Emma?
I was just gonna, sure.
Well, okay, so
The Young Turks isn't what I would say. Honestly, if this is them just covering what it is. this isn't necessarily like the Young Turks are the go-to.
No, but okay,
but
so
yeah.
where should I go?
Okay, so at
This
least for
one?
me, if you go Wikipedia. I know that sounds real stupid, but
Why?
people edit
Why does
the
that
fuck
sound
out of
stupid?
it.
No, so I
Well,
I want to
guess
push
I
back
say
on.
that to people.
Yeah. Okay, you go. You go.
I say that I've been said that to people, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Most of my political conversations happen with people who are a little older, i.e., my father, and he has the thing of like anybody can edit things on Wikipedia, and I think it's the most like dog brain take, but it's important to, yeah. CNN, Wikipedia, it's in CNN
This is something
controversies.
called WikiWand. I don't know what that is, so I don't. But we'll go check it out, and you can tell me if this conforms with what you understand about the world. But I do want to say something about Wikipedia. Okay, so I'm also the co-founder of something called the Media and Democracy Project, and we work in a less silly way than this towards a better informed electorate, right? And so we actually believe deeply Wikipedia is, and if you talk to experts and scholars and academics, they will support Wikipedia. Wikipedia does try
I
to
agree
do
with
its,
that.
Yeah, no, because it's a real fact about the world. Wikipedia does try to do its best. As an information nutritionist, I support Wikipedia, and of course there are times when I guess it can be hacked or something like that. But for the most part, Wikipedia is.
But then people correct it like so fast. I
Right,
think that's the thing that
exactly,
pisses me off is that it'll be like anyone can edit it, and I'm like, yeah, and anyone can edit it back.
Okay, let's hear. Here we are. Let's get back onto track. Not that I had anything to do with staying on track. Often very confused and whatever. Okay, so Occupy CNN. On April 3rd, 2016, hundreds of supporters of Bernie Sanders protested outside of CNN's Los Angeles bureau on Sunset Boulevard. Sanders supporters were protesting CNN's coverage of the 2016 U.S. presidential. Well, I love this energy because, look, I've been talking about. You can go to Fix Media now on, well, don't go to Twitter, but I've been writing about these issues for years, and I've been excited to get people to care about them. And so now they were in 2016. I did not know about this. Regarding the lack of airtime Sanders had received, known as Occupy CNN. Okay, what do you want to say about it, Emma?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like in 2016, that's when I lost faith.
Okay.
When Bernie didn't win, and Bernie, you know what I mean? Like when the Democrats blocked him, I was like, yeah, this is it. I know that sounds. And when people start going like, oh, Biden was it, and it's like, oh, this was it, oh, Kamala was it, and it's like, shut up. Like the biggest thing that was it, in my opinion,
Yes.
was the Bernie Sanders shit, right? The way that they silenced. And I get it. He's the DSA. I get it.
Right. But so now let's just go back really quick. And we try to focus on our information ecosystem, but that can't be separated from our politics. And so let's just go back and say, regardless of how we feel about what happened to Bernie in 2016, Bernie Sanders has remained, as caucusing with the Democrats. Bernie Sanders has not gone, apeshit wild as the Republican MAGA extremism movement has gone. Bernie Sanders has stayed on his messaging, and he has generated more DSA candidates. He has generated more, what are they called? Democrats? What is it? Justice Democrat? What is it called? I'm getting it wrong. Anyway.
I'm so sorry.
What? No, that's okay. Are you talking to me?
I cannot help. Yeah, I just cannot help in this scenario.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know.
And there's AOC, and there's more progressive people who are members of Congress than there were before. So I would just like to reflect on that and the reality that, it's all messy. And I'm not saying that we have to, I don't think we should be fans of any politician, right? Especially when we have a capitalist system, which results in a capitalist government, right? You have a capitalist system, you're going to have a capitalist government that eventually will be so undermined by money that it will get a Supreme Court justice, Chief Justice, into power who will then approve and make up that that money is speech and will bastardize our politics, right? We understand these forces, but it doesn't mean, I think, that we should throw the baby out with the bathwater, because we have a troubled democracy. I mean, we basically do not have one right now as it exists right now in this country. We are in the midst of an administrative coup. We are in the midst of a deeply, deep constitutional crisis, right? Due process is being destroyed. We should be all terrified, which is why we should all be taking to the streets peacefully in this country. But, you know, I am always going to push back, just me personally, and you can be an adherent of the tub, and of course you can have any idea that you want. It's your idea, and we have to support it as best we can. But I just think, for me, I do not want there to be hot war in America. I do not want there to be an escalation from where we are right now. And so I think the only way that we can achieve that is to apply, like I think you would agree with me, Emma, that we need more civics in this country. We need more civic
100%
engagement. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And so if everyone who had your energy about politics found someone to run as a Democrat in whatever local election they were in, and you and your politics, you got all the people who are disenfranchised by Bernie to, because this is what the Republicans do. They are so organized and they all fall in line because of their political psychology, right? And now Madison's saying in the chat that she'd vote for you, and I'd vote for you too, Emma. And so Emma, I'm not trying to change your mind, but I'm just trying to share my idea, which is that, like, we are so disenchanted in this country, and it is a combination of things. It is a combination of how our corporate DNC has been acting for years. It is a combination of foreign disinformation. The other thing, Emma, is we are in the midst. We were talking about history and how long it takes for that to, you know, to feel the impacts of certain things. We are in the midst, and understand those impacts of a technological information revolution. So on par with the Gutenberg press. You know, when the printing press was created, that unsettled the world for hundreds of years, caused wars and unrest. New ideas were being pushed out. Fringe ideas were being pushed out and disrupting the order and the status quo. And so we are living through that right now, and the repercussions are massive. And so we have all of these. Yes, we have a corporate capitalist government. We also have enemies like Vladimir Putin. Everything that's happening right now in our country is Vladimir Putin's wet dream. You know what I mean? And so we have to contend with the reality that our information ecosystem has been taken over by elements that breed distrust, that breed that disenchantment. And so if we are information and fact warriors like we are here in the tub, in the Megachurch of Joy, we have to understand that regardless of our individual politics and our individual ideologies, we can return to hey, Mo is here. We can return to some sense of stability. We can return to some sense of less polarization and hate and division. I mean, we are so divided. And our mainstream media does a terrible job of talking about the division. They only air the voices of disgruntled Trump voters. They do not talk to and share the opinions of Democratic voters or any other kind of voters with the public with any level of prominence or frequency that they do to Trump voters, right? So we have this massive problem. And so the point of the tub is to focus on upping everyone's information and having it be information that is based in fact and having us all get context. And so we're so grateful that you would share your idea about the Occupy CNN protest. Let me show you something else that I think we can all do. And I love going all over the friggin' place with my new friend Emma. Now, Emma, this is a website called Truth Tuesdays. And if you want to talk about occupying CNN, and I'd love to talk a little bit more about CNN, And first of all, we just want to say hello to Mo. Now, Mo is an OG. Mo is an OG before any of you all, Madison. Mo has been here since before I got onto TikTok Live, and Mo is so grateful and excited to have Rev Deuce back in their life, and we love Mo. Upstate New York, Mo, we love you, and we are so grateful that you are here, and we are blessed by your energy. And how will you support others today? How will you love others today? How will you connect with others and commit to their ideas even when they are hard for you to connect to and to commit to? So this is a group, Emma, that protests every Tuesday outside of Fox News, right? Because Fox lies about elections. Fox lies about elections to the tune of having to pay $750 million, right? So when we want to talk about the harms that CNN does, we can't ignore the greater harms, I would say, that Fox News does, right? And so this is a way that you could, quote unquote, occupy Fox. You can start a protest wherever you are. And I highly, now, here's just a little bit of inside information. My fiance and I designed this website. Don't tell anybody. But so this is a way that you can protest. Now, we love Julie. Julie is the one. Now, you may have seen people getting arrested at a Tesla takedown protest, right, in New York City. Well, that was our friend Julie and the people in Rise and Resist who are doing incredible work at all times to stand up for democracy and against all of this stuff, right? And so I made this website, and I do not think that people have started, but we got you every single Fox affiliate in the country. We even gave you everything that you can say. What is it? Change the channel tips. We even have things you can say if a station manager comes out and says, look, we do not have anything to do with Fox News propaganda network. The thing is that those 200 affiliates combined to pay Fox and Murdoch billions of dollars a year in affiliate fees. So I would love it if y'all could share truthtuesdays.org website. Anyway, Emma, I want to go back to CNN really quick. And then I think I want to wrap it up by noon so that I can finally finish the article that I'm writing about Charlie Kirk and how Charlie Kirk is nothing more than billionaire speech wrapped up in a Charlie Kirk flesh suit, because our friend, our MAGA friend, S-Bub, who loves Ben Shapiro and who loves Charlie Kirk and who comes into our live and has an open mind, right? We can't write off every MAGA person and call them a maggot, because that's when we are also victims in the information war, because we are being divided by Vladimir Putin and Elon Musk and Steve Bannon and Christopher Rufo, right? Those are our enemies, our mutual enemies, regardless of if our fellow Americans and their political psychology has them respond to the disinformation, okay? So I just want to talk real quick about CNN, and so I'm so grateful for you, Emma. So Emma, CNN, okay? Here's the difference that I tell my MAGA friends about CNN and Fox News. CNN was created by a businessman in the early 1990s, maybe late 1980s, by Ted Turner. Ted Turner did not create CNN the same way that Roger Ailes and Rupert Murdoch created Fox News. Fox News was created specifically to manipulate people into voting for a particular political party against their interests. CNN, in its origins, was created by a businessman who wanted to make money by doing something that was damaging to democracy and damaging to journalism, which was to create a 24/7 cable news network. Now, journalism takes time. There is no such thing as responsible journalism that is the idea of cable news, because cable news is going to just report it bleeds, it leads type stuff. It's going to report breaking news, but it can't be doing that at all times because there is not always breaking national news. So it has to manufacture things to keep people's eyes attuned to it. It has to create opinion shows where panels are erupting constantly, where there's sensationalism and people shouting at each other. And that is not good for democracy. That is not good for discourse, okay? So we do have critiques of CNN. But the other thing about CNN and even MSNBC, again, with the caveat that cable news is our least nutritious form of information, right? We should be reading fact-based journalists. We should be consulting fact-based influencers even, if they don't engage in sensationalism, because we know that 40% of Americans under the age of 30 get their news and information from influencers, and influencers do not, over 60% of influencers do not fact check any of the information they share before they send it. But so, CNN still hires journalists. CNN still has a website that practices journalism, as bad as it is in the critique of sensationalism, and as bad as it is from our critique of both sidesism, when we have an extreme radical party that has one of the world's most notorious liars, a sexual assaulter, a con man, all of these things. They normalize him, and that is bad. But they still report fact-based information about the world. And now if we could get rid of all of the Fox News, and if we could get rid of all of the, OANNs, right? And our worst form of journalism could be CNN with all the commercialized corporate critiques we just made of it, we would be in a much better place as a society. I know that may be hard for some folks to hear. But so that's the overall view we have of CNN here in the tub. At least that's Rev Deuce's view. And so thank you for listening to that.
Yeah.
Now, Emma.
Well, thank you.
Now, Emma, let's go. Do you have a little more time? Do you
have
like,
and
6 more minutes?
Yeah.
I want to go and I want to look at ground news because I know, hey, Mo, my North Country community protest was instrumental in getting 3 children and mom returned home. Oh, are you from where Tom Homan lives? So Mo is reporting, I thought that Tom Homan lived in Long Island, but you're saying, Mo, that he lives in upstate New York. And so we may have all heard about this. So this is Mo giving us an example in real time of what it means to be engaged civically in opposition to the MAGA movement. And so that is incredible. We want to go take a look at ground news because we know, now I disagree often with the frames that, what's his name, Andrew, what have you, with the Andrew Sullivan, Channel 5 News. Now, Channel 5 News is very fascinating because he does go around the country and he does show stuff in the way that like Hasanabi did when he went out to to interview the inmate firefighters in Los Angeles and expose for people some of the things that go on.
I also linked something in the chat. This is when it comes to influencers, that is my favorite influencer, Cody Johnston somewhat. But yeah,
Cody
we
Johnston
should definitely
is
talk
your
about
favorite
ground
influencer? Cody,
yeah.
Cody Johnston. Well, now, so you see what I've reported. Now, I want to show you this really quick. We love getting distracted here. And I'm sure I need to get more memory because I have 32 gigs of memory, which I feel like is a lot, but I put this computer through its paces. Now, let me show you something real quick. Publicenlightenment.com. That's where we are right now. So on publicenlightenment.com, I've created this for you, and I'm going to create another one. Now, I have very strict standards for this. I actually watched hours of influencers, and I would be like 9 videos deep into an influencer, and then they would say like something like, that like the war of Russia's war invasion of Ukraine was Ukraine's fault and NATO's fault, and we do not subscribe to that at all. That is literally a Kremlin talking point, and Kremlin is our enemy, whatever. Anyway, the link did get censored, by the way, but we'll look up Cody Johnson. But so I just want you to see this really quick because we talk about being fact warriors all the time, Emma, and so, I always like to give some facts and information at the top of my stuff, right? Influencers don't fact check. The right-wing disinformation and propaganda dominate social media, right? So we're often talking about all this stuff, and then I give you influencers that I have checked out that we can all share. So I can't wait to look at Cody Johnston and find out what's going on with Cody Johnston. So that's exciting, and I look forward to that. Now let's go back to ground news because, ground news clearly has had a major advertising push. So let's first look at who owns ground news. Let's look at the about section of ground news because this is how Rev Deuce analyzes all of his information. About ground news, because I haven't done a deep dive into ground news. About us. Oh, that's a glitch with their thing. The problem with partisan media. This is going to be fascinating for Rev Deuce to go through. Over the past decade, online news and ad-driven algorithms have made it profitable for news outlets to embrace a position on the bias spectrum to target specific consumers. Now, this is interesting because there's no such thing as objectivity in journalism. And I know that that's not really what Ground News is saying, but they are like, bias is okay because everything is biased. So the bias has to be towards facts and democracy. But let's keep reading. Bias in the media affects everything.
Didn't they? It says embrace a position on the bias spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. But so profitable to embrace it, right? They're saying that it's like part of sensationalism. I don't necessarily disagree, and thanks for calling me out on that, Emma. But they're talking about how, like, they're kind of engaging in, like, well, if it has partisanship or if it is biased, then maybe it's like wrong, you know? But I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. This is a deep reading of Ground News, and I appreciate you being here with me for it. Bias in the media affects everything from what events receive coverage, absolutely, to how a news outlet frames those events in their reporting. Okay, great. This Rev Deuce could have written this. As media outlets narrow their perspective and range of coverage, it becomes impossible to consult a single news story for a well-rounded view on important issues. Now, this is, I'm going to say this is approaching for me, I believe, because if they start to, here's the thing. There is a purpose-built right-wing disinformation and propaganda ecosystem. So one problem I feel like we may be heading towards with Ground News is that when they, I know one thing they do is like who's covering it more and who's covering it less. And so what's interesting is that, like, yes, you have profit-seeking agendas and you have the narratives of the billionaire CEOs of the mainstream press, absolutely, and we will always push for fact-based, independent, and nonprofit journalism in the public interest, like ProPublica is the paradigm. But the problem I think I'm about to encounter with Ground News is that when they, like, do people understand that when they see the, like, oh, well, the left isn't covering this at all, and they show what the right is covering, that the right is a purpose-built system to manipulate us and get us to vote for a particular party. Whereas every piece of journalism, and even the commercial ones that are non-MAGA, yes, they have agendas from the owners, and increasingly it's becoming problematic. We have Jeff Bezos at the Washington Post. We have Patrick Soon-Shiong, who have proven themselves to want to interfere with their newsrooms, right? Cross that firewall and interfere in their reporting. But still, there is a world that has been created in the right wing that is specifically meant to cover things and make outrage and make the culture war. The culture war does not originate from anywhere besides the MAGA space, and then also the foreign adversaries who get into and make all the different social media apps and memes and stuff like that. So thinking freely. Ground News was created to offer clarity in an increasingly chaotic media landscape. Our vision is positive coexistence where cooperative civil debate is the norm. Media is accountable and critical. So if they don't say anything about the right-wing disinformation and propaganda ecosystem, I'm gonna have to recommend Ground News with a huge caveat. And critical thought is the baseline of our. Okay, all of this I agree with. We're on a mission to well-inform. That's funny. Are these people British? We're on a mission to well-inform the world by empowering readers to think freely about the issues of our times. Now, but again, if they don't mention the well-documented in several books, Messengers of the Right, Poison Tea, Shadow Network, there's all the historians, experts, and scholars have documented the creation of the right-wing disinformation ecosystem. A better way to read the news, see the whole picture. Now, who owns them? So they do bias, factuality, and ownership, which is great. I'd have a piece at publicenlightenment.com about the creation of the right-wing disinformation cover your ecosystem. ears, everyone.
A better way to read.
I have a piece about. Hold on, I want to show this to everyone, and I would love you to read it, and I would love to get your. Jeez Louise. Okay, can media bias sites be trusted? And I specifically didn't want to spend all the time to go through Ground News, but so this is my take on it. Is it left versus right as important as journalism versus propaganda? So I would love for people to read that. Now let's go back. But so it's great because literally ad fontes and all sides don't even take into account the factuality, which is insane. And then ownership is something that only Media Bias Fact Check also takes into account. Now, who owns this? Why aren't they telling us who owns it? Company history. co-founded by former NASA engineer Harleen Carr and award-winning app developer Suk Singh. Since launch, we've been featured, promotion, our team, Canada, Media Industry Outsiders. We are not funded by a media company, big tech, government affiliations, or institutional investors. We're supported by our subscribers. So I think overall, I think that we are getting a slight disservice, but I'm saying that before I go and consult. So, Emma.
Yeah.
Emma,
What's up?
how do you use this site? So we'll go to
If
home.
I'm gonna be real with you, I'll like whip out my phone.
Okay, whip
because
it out.
I'm that girl.
Because
and then
you're what?
I go
because
to-
you're what?
I'm that girl.
Okay.
But if we go to groundnews.com, I don't have the exclusive, like, because you can subscribe to it, major, but, like it'll tell you to what your blind spot is. And something that I like about it, right, is you're right, it doesn't say, like, the right sucks. What it does say, though, is this is explicitly what the right is saying, this is explicitly what the left is saying, and this is explicitly what
Sure, but so what do they quantify as the left?
That's a good question.
They call mainstream corporate commercialized system for informing the public the left? Is that what they do?
If I'm gonna be, let's see. So Apple Inside, yeah. So what they do is they break down exactly who they're talking about. So here it says Washington Post, of course, owned by a billionaire,
a pro-Trump billionaire.
Yeah. But if we go here, you can have the full bias breakdown, but you have to subscribe, right? But then you have individual articles that are said there and kind of mentioned. So it's not like this is the article, it's like it combines everything.
Okay. So I'm looking at this. Oh no, I have to own it. Ugh. You know what? Hold on. I have a trick and I'm going to try the trick live. I'm going to try the trick live. Hell yeah. Okay, I have a trick to see these things. But so let's see what's going on here. I want to judge this in real time. Okay. All right, fascinating. Now, and then do they put the fact-based things at the top of this? So look at what we're seeing over here. So we got the Independent, we got SAN. Okay, already I have a huge problem with this. Huge problem with this. What is this? Yeah, Real Madison, that's something that I want to hold on to so I can get people to pay for the Discord. You know what I mean? Emma, you still with me?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, Emma, you're cool. Okay, now, okay. So, the AP is just, the AP, this is why it's wild to me, okay? USA Today normalizes the crap out of the extreme right, okay? USA Today is owned by Gannett. And USA Today is certainly not left of center.
But I would say the stratification that they're giving
Uh-huh.
maybe is a little, like, I think it's more believable, though, to the everyday American.
Right,
Like,
I
I'm with you,
understand
don't get
that.
me wrong. But when it comes down to it, when people say the left, when people say blue, yeah, they're talking about CNN. They're talking about AP. What they're not talking about, right, is, like, on the other side. And so I
Yeah.
totally get that.
I
And,
hear
like, you
you.
got Jacobin or whatever, and the Daily Beast. Like, you got all that shit, which seems like a lot more left, which I think is what you're talking about.
Right. But so here's what's going on. What is this B? Don't tell me this B is Breitbart. So the New York Post is a Murdoch-owned gossip and misinformation rag, okay? Daily Beast is a sensational outlet, absolutely, right? Because it's part of our corporate commercialized system for informing the public. And so Daily Beast has like, some sensational headlines, and it's got this sensational way
Absolutely.
of like putting tags on
But
stuff.
so does a lot of.
But Daily,
like, that's a news thing.
But Daily Beast is fact based, right?
I think that's great. Yeah.
Daily Wire is a propaganda organization created by two brothers, the Wilkes brothers, who have created Ben Shapiro's career, who have created Matt Walsh's career, who hate LGBTQ people, right? Like the Daily Beast is a sensational news outlet that is based in fact, that is that reports and tries to make money. The Daily Wire is a propaganda outlet that two billionaire brothers who are fracking and oil billionaires created because they hate gay people and they hate government, right? So this is like the kind of thing that most Americans have no idea of. So when they consult Ground News, and now here's my final piece, and maybe someone could edit this into an amazing piece of content that we can then share with the world so that I can make. And now, is this the Washington Examiner? I mean, holy shit. I'm fired up. Deuce is getting fired up. But I want to talk about SAN really quick. I want to talk about SAN because I also am I need to write a piece, and I'm, I would do this all day, right?
I might have to start getting ready for work, dude. But I'm having so much fun.
I love that, Emma, and we want you to come back every day. We want you to tell all your friends because I think especially, and I want, what I really want to do, Emma, is I want to ask you about what you use to video edit later. Okay, Madison. What I really want to do, Emma, is I want to talk to you about what it is like to be a young woman. I assume you identify as a woman. I don't want to assume about you, but I've been calling you she. You are Emma. But I want to know what it means to be a woman in a 24-year-old, and what you see, are your friends or your male friends like all in the manosphere. Like, I want to understand that. Maybe because you're politics, you're not, but maybe your brother is or your cousin, and I want to understand that and unpack that. And then I want them to come to the show, and I want to talk to them about their sources of information, because that is literally how we change the world and how we save democracy. So I know you have to get started for work real soon. And so, Emma, we want you to come back. We want you to bring your energy. We want you to come into the Discord. So we want you to message me. I don't know what app you're on. I think you're on Twitch. We want you to message me. We want you to get into the Discord. We want to build this community so that I can do this all the time. I would love to do this for the rest of my friggin' life. You know what I mean? So anyway, SAN, let's talk about it really quick, because this is what Jubilee uses to fact check. And Jubilee does nothing more than serve the alternate propaganda reality that has been created by the right-wing billionaires in this country. So we are going to go to this article that I wrote. Can media bias sites be trusted? Okay. I'm so glad you said you're having so much fun. What a cool 24-year-old. Now listen to Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump has long set out to destroy trust in journalism in order to replace it with propaganda. So here's him saying something.
I've never seen press reporting as I have with regard to me. And I hope the general public understands how inherently dishonest the press in this country is.
As a member of the press, let me try to clear up some of the things which you say are untrue. My back is
so anyway, that's just a little clip right there. I know Emma has to go, but I'm doing the work here. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's go down. Let's go down to SAN. Okay, SAN it ain't so. I'm funny, okay? I'm funny. SAN it ain't so. Straight Arrow News touts a tagline of unbiased straight facts, okay? And let's go back to Grand News. And all of the media bias sites rate SAN as center. Makes no sense to me, and it makes me want to tell people. And I know it's so hard to know what's true and what's propaganda and what's not. But SAN is 100% a right-wing billionaire operation. It receives a rating of middle from Ad Fontes and center from all sides. It provides news from across a fairly narrow spectrum of mainstream and right-wing outlets. SAN also features its own newsroom anchors who do video reports from a C-SPAN-esque studio. I found this SAN News anchor report that talks about the Republican effort to strip health care for trans children and military families that relies on the Daily Wire as its source. Okay? If you're a center, if your bias is rated as center, it makes no sense that someone who purports to be a media bias rater like Ground News or any of these places would rate as center someone who uses right-wing propaganda as the basis for their stories, okay? And I go into how the Wilkes brothers and who they are, okay? Now, Their opinion page is wildly unbalanced. The liberal opinion pundits are people who are fact-based, like some law professor, David Pakman. Yes, David Pakman has a bias towards progressivism, but David Pakman is based in fact-based information, okay? Now, the conservative opinion side is from the Center for Urban Renewal, the CEO of it, right? And the Koch-created American Enterprise Institute, the Claremont Institute, okay? This is a Claremont Institute fellow right here.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, look, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
Okay, so
all right, welcome. I just wanted to say
from SAN are not, these are people who are based in fact and who consult mainstream, okay, not the left. There is no such thing as liberal. I know I'm getting heated and it's not at you, Emma. There is no such thing as liberal left media in this country. Yes, maybe the journalists who work there are, but that is a commercial corporate product that is meant to maintain the status quo, maintain a buying mood amongst the public, and maintain as many viewers and readers as possible, which is why you get so much coverage of Trump supporters in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, on CNN, right? Doney going and talking to every single Trump supporter and ignoring Democratic voters and any other kind of voter in their coverage, okay? So this is what the SAN uses as their conservative opinion, is just right-wing think tanks, okay? Now, let's go on to this, which is just the craziest part, okay? SAN is owned by a right-wing billionaire named Joe Ricketts. I blew my mind when I first looked at this stuff, because I looked up Joe Ricketts using something called SourceWatch. And of course, the right-wing billionaires have created something called Influence Watch. It's really wild out here, and it's a wild west. So in 2012, Ricketts planned a racist advertising campaign to defeat Obama, entitled The Defeat of Barack Hussein Obama. They love that Hussein, which planned to recycle the Obama Reverend Jeremiah Wright conspiracy. The $10 million ad campaign would have begun airing prior to the Democratic National Convention. The plan for the ad campaign was quoted as wanting to hire an extremely literate African American as spokesman and have that individual claim Mr. Obama fooled the nation by presenting himself as a metrosexual black Abe Lincoln.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Okay, now let's just go back to Ground News and see that Ground News, even Ground News, which I know so many young people and even a lot of influencers that I really have faith in, that do great work, that talk about the right-wing disinformation. There's this woman who I used for my first podcast. She has this amazing podcast where she does all this research, right?
I have to go, dude.
Okay,
I'm really
hey,
sorry.
Emma, we love you. Emma, we are so grateful for you. Emma, how will you tell someone you love them today? How will you spread fact-based information that aligns with small d democratic values today? Emma, we are so grateful for the hour we just spent with you. Get ready for work. Have a great day at work. We love you. We support you. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. Have a good day.
Freaking credible. Can we talk about the incredible hour that we just had hanging out with our new pal, Emma? That was amazing. I'm so grateful for all of you who are here. If there are signs of life in the Substack chat, we want to know about them. And then I guess I have to edit this into a video or something. But then I have to download all the video as well from the past month of TikTok Lives. And I have to organize it, and I have to not lose it. There's so much to do, Madison. We love you, Madison. I guess we're hearing Madison is listening, and at the same time, it's like that radio situation.
Why is my microphone even on? And how long has this been going on?
I think a long time. But so that was incredible. And do we have any new viewers? Do we have more viewers? We have 3 viewers. Hey, if you're in Twitch, oh, it's you, Madison.
Is it me and Marley and David? Because we're all sitting on the porch watching.
And then what's going on YouTube now? Let me see how many people are in YouTube.
Is Mo still here?
But that was awesome.
I forgot about Mo.
Mo, we love Mo. Mo, are you still here? Gosh, we love Mo. So Mo and this guy, Big Nick, were the people who were coming in here in February. And then when I was on Twitch and YouTube, and it was amazing. They loved it, and we had such a good time.
You should turn down your volume because now we're in this like weird.
I should? My volume's bad?
No, not you, David.
Oh. David, come on now. All right, now listen, this was very exciting. This was very exciting. Now,
I hope she comes back.
Oh, I think she will. What we need to do, gang, is we need to figure out how to make this Discord link work. I mean, it works as a solution right now. And so what we need to do is we need to figure it out. Because I can do this all day.
Also in the chat, right?
What's that?
We could also share it in the chat because we're on the Discord and we have like permissions.
Oh, yes.
So that could be a solution.
That could be a solution. Now, okay, so now another thing, and let me just transition over to here. Now, another thing, Madison, and this is fun because we're just talking and everyone can hear us. But another thing is that here are the things that Deuce needs help with. Okay. So.
We have to send free labor, baby.
Yeah.
Well, look, I know you love me and support me and you want me to succeed. So I think that this is a mutual aid situation. So, okay, I think what needs to happen is we need to figure out. Now, I wonder what that experience was like for Emma because she was watching her screen, but there is a delay. But you're telling me Twitch has a less of a delay?
Yeah,
It's like
Twitch.
2 seconds.
Yeah, Twitch has way less of a delay than YouTube. YouTube is 20.
To a minute. Yeah.
It was exactly 20 seconds today because I timed it a few times to see if it was consistent.
Now, okay, so what I think we should do, so this is 2 people are watching on YouTube. Now, what I think we should do then is we should encourage people to join on Twitch if they want to talk with me live. Because so we have to say that, and we need a moderation system that auto populates these things. And now Restream suggests that they have the ability to do that. So we have to figure out, are we going to use Restream's mod stuff because Restream is the thing that I'm using to broadcast across all these platforms?
Mm-hmm.
So do we use Restream's mod stuff? And then how do we put, I mean, it would be great though if it's like, we can't just say like call in and we can't rely on the chat because ideally there will be a future very soon where more and more people are in here. And so if the chat, first of all, look how awful my chat looks, by the way, right? Like that is unsustainable. So
I mean, it's readable. I wouldn't say it's horrible.
It's readable, but these boxes and everything, like I know that Hassan Piker uses some other third-party chat thing, and I would love to understand how that works. So like,
it's so complicated. You're running like 50 things at once.
I know. But it means that we can do this though at all times. I mean, that's the greatest thing I've ever done, and I've done a lot of cool things.
You would not believe how loud this graphic is when we're watching it on the TV.
I turned it down actually because I do know. Was it a little less loud this time?
We only watched on the TV for like a few minutes this morning before we walked out on the porch, so I actually do not know. Yeah.
What happened?
We're just troubleshooting what we're doing wrong over here.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so we need to fix the chat. But so I'd say but then how do we get more people in here? Right? Because
we need to because I now have like a desperate need to make the merch that's in my brain, and I'm definitely gonna do it, but I would love for people for there to be a following to buy the merch.
Okay, so we need because honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I only have about like a month's worth. I have like 2 months worth of money left. You know, I told my fiance I'd stop at a certain point because I'm not. My career as an actor is not going well. I've booked some jobs recently. That's exciting, But
that's great. I'd love to hear that.
I'm bleeding money and I need to get some kind of employment, right? And so I only really have like 2 months to kind of like make this even be like, if I can make $30,000 a year on this, you know what I mean? Like, I just need to be able to like pay my rent for a year, you know what I mean? And then I can continue to do this and try and grow it. And so I need to like figure out very quickly how to grow this and how to monetize this. And I do not know, that is not like the skills that you see Deuce use, the singing, the acting, the knowledge about the media, the history, those are Deuce's skills. Deuce's skills are not monetization of influencer culture. And so I need help with that. And I'm not asking y'all to, but if you know someone, right, who knows how to do that, if you have tips and tricks, if you know someone, Rev Deuce needs that desperately.
Like I've said, me and Marley are also trying to get some things started. So I feel like not only do I obviously believe in your message and want to get it out, but I feel like if we can step in and help you get a following and get people behind this, then that is just helping me learn what I need to do for myself.
And I would say for me, David here.
I know who you are.
In my uneducated opinion, I think you got to kind of, I guess, pick a spot and pick some consistency, because you are jumping all over the place in the stream, which is fun. Again, I'm all here for it. I'm all here for the technicality issues and stuff like that. I think it really lends to the Deuce thing, and I don't think you should worry so much about like the aesthetic of the whole thing because of like the gray boxes with the chat and all that stuff, because it just does look like young hip pasture, you know what I mean? It gives the vibe of it. So I think just picking an area where you would want to grow. Do you want to grow in the Twitch chat or do you want to grow in the TikTok chat? Pick a spot and then, go from there and really solidify one following and the way to do it in one avenue, and just flood the zone with the same stuff. Like whether you're going to do the live mainly on Twitch and then repost the VOD on YouTube, have that cut up at the clips and post it on TikTok, have that broadcasted on your Blue Sky, posted again and again, and reposted by all your thousands of followers repeatedly ad nauseum until the end of time, and you're rich.
Yeah, see, that's the part that I'm confused about, David, because it's like right now I don't have anybody coming in from anywhere, Like you all found me, and then there's a few people who found me on TikTok, but like TikTok certainly stops all of my videos from being, like all my videos go to 400 views, and unless it's like a very rare video that gets reposted by a very select certain random assortment of people, my videos don't do any traffic, right?
Shadow banned is what Marley's saying.
Well, that's possible. I try not to be conspiratorial about all that stuff, but that is definitely possible. And I'm not saying you're being conspiratorial, but like I do encounter that, right? Like I feel like an eighth of all content on TikTok is like people being like they're banning my shit.
I will say, that we're sitting on the porch, and so conspiracies do bounce around in this type of space. So maybe she's being
maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's conspiraline. Anyway, So I think that
I need the graphic.
David, I hear you about picking one spot, but I feel like it doesn't cost me anything to like live stream like extra to like multiple places. And so I thought you were going to say consistency in terms of like the show each day. You know what I mean? And, that is interesting because one thing I think is valuable about the show is the way that we talk to a variety of different Americans. And I thought talking to Emma was fascinating. And so maybe it's like we put people and myself on a clock when they join. But I would love to understand, something I've thought about is like maybe I do a half hour of the fear stuff and the religion stuff up top. Or maybe I do that at the end. But yes, like I think that it should be 9 to 11 every day. And in that time, I like have some consistency. The problem is that there is always something to talk about. And it's like, if we're trying to meet human beings where they are and where they are in the information space, I think there's deep value in the sort of, improvised interaction with someone as they talk about their worldview, and Deuce interacts with them based on what he knows about our information ecosystem. And I feel like that's hard to codify, and that's hard to, say like, we're going to spend a half hour on that, and then end it. But maybe that is the way that it goes, because that is how humanity works, right? It is like there's segments of shows, and that's what people respond to.
It's difficult. It's because, like, how do you put a time limit and schedule on spontaneous human interaction? How do you put it on somebody who you're describing a large idea to, and who you have to go through tab after tab after tab with? Not that you have to, but that you're getting the pleasure to, you know what I mean? All that good stuff. Because it's something interesting to do, and Emma was down for it, and it was good to hear and listen to.
I thought that was such a great conversation. I mean, I think maybe I just clip that whole conversation and put it onto YouTube with Emma's consent. I got to get Emma's consent.
Yeah, maybe kidnapping someone into helping you with IT issues only to make them join your cult.
I know. Well, sure, okay, David.
That's a pipeline. That is a pipeline that just happened.
That was one person. That was one.
But it would be funny though. I just think that's a funny title. Is that how you just pipelined him from coming in to help you get this call set up, and then sticking around to deconstruct their whole source of news?
Yeah. What should I put on the screen? Because my fiance has a lot of ideas about, she thinks it looks so janky and all this stuff. But I think, and obviously when you're in the TikTok live space, it's hard to put too much information on the screen. But I think there still needs to be some contextualizing stuff on the screen. And now that we can have people call in, how do I get people to, so there's a fascinating thing. I guess if people are on their phones, they can't use a QR code. But I would like, Discord worked today. But what really today showed to me is the power of having people call in live versus like that Discord is the mechanism for it. And so I wonder, to me, the ideal is that it just says, Megachurch of Joy, like something about our information ecosystem or MAGA, like baiting MAGA to talk to me about their sources of information.
Is there a way to do like a WhatsApp number that could be connected, and then we would have like a number to put on the screen,
Like I can make a new WhatsApp number that's not my personal phone number?
Yeah.
Okay. WhatsApp. So I saw that there were options. There's an option with Skype. But Skype, you need something called NDI or something. And it's like...
Isn't Skype a dying company?
I don't know, and I think you have to pay for it.
They came back for a minute during
Yeah,
COVID.
I think so. No. Skype had the opportunity to come back during COVID.
Wait,
I think you also have to pay for Skype.
Could you do Zoom?
I think that WhatsApp is super free, and I also think that there are a lot of people using WhatsApp that I've just found out recently.
But then if I have that and it's attached to like, my phone, for instance, are people going to be able to, dox me or spam, not dox me, but, like troll me and that kind of a thing?
I think you can turn it on and off.
And then the other problem, y'all, and I'm so grateful for y'all just troubleshooting with me. I'm so deeply grateful for y'all. The other part is it's like, I want to go finish writing my article. You know what I mean? I want to make 6 more videos. I have 1,000 video ideas, but each one of those takes me 45 minutes to make, And so it's just, I'm so grateful for you because you are being a pro bono team, and I'm asking you to do whatever it is that you feel like you want to do. But it's just, there's just so much to do, and I'm running out of time. And
I would like to rewatch the YouTube live VODs and go through and get timestamps for you of parts that I would consider interesting. But what would you be looking for, and how long would you want those clips to be?
Honestly, David, it does not, like, they can be YouTube short length, right? Which is, I think, anything below 3 minutes.
Okay.
Or they can be long form segments. David, that would I'm going to start.
I'll do long form segments first. I'll do long form segments first, and then it'll be easier to break those up into smaller ones in between.
Dude, I'm going to start crying, David, because that's like, if that's something you want to do with your time, I am so grateful. And it is my promise to you that if this does become a thing where I do make money from it, I will do my best to repay you all. Because I
just want to be on the other side of the grift. See, that's the thing. If I get you to cry, that's me succeeding in my grift. Getting in on your grift.
David, you bastard.
Yep, slippery like that.
No,
okay.
Like, being real, like, we feel the need to get into some sort of activism because obviously we're in, like, a dire situation. People need to get up and do something, and this is something that I think has potential to do a lot of good, and I am more than willing to put my time forth to help it succeed, you know?
Can I ask one more thing of you, David?
Yeah. Shoot, Rev.
So someone made a clip. Lilith made a clip for me the other day.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that the clip... Now, hold on. I believe that the clip... Let me see if I can access it. Is like something that... where's like a clip? Where's a clip that Lilith made? Hold on one second. Bear with me, gang.
That was like an ASMR video where yeah, you're like really pronouncing the word clip.
Clip.
It's nice. Wow.
It feels like it should be accompanied with you doing something with a clip, you know? Like there should be some form of like clacking sound with
If we
it.
say clip about 4 more times, I'm gonna start believing that's not the real word.
All right. We'll keep a counter for how many
So
more times
I don't
we can
know. I know that Lilith made a clip.
And Lilith is doing a great job in the Discord. That's what I
know.
really appreciate. Like
Lilith is
Lilith MVP in the
incredible.
Discord. Discord
Everyone's
MVP.
You're all incredible. But so, okay, obviously I can't even find the clip, so that's a problem, right? Lilith made this clip, and I can't even find it. But it was just me talking about something. But so these just get posted automatically, and they don't. I have to go back in, and I guess I have to say what day they were from and all that kind of a thing. That's fascinating. So these just get shown automatically. That's interesting. And then videos is like, yeah, okay, that's the old school stuff I used to do. Look at this video. What will they get us to believe next? Look at that haircut. Now, my face is so shiny. Now, okay. David, I welcome any support whatsoever in terms of producing video. And now, David, if that also means if you have, like, if you're going to do the timestamps anyway, and David, if you say no to this, it is totally acceptable, 100%. But I would even give you my frigging login. And if you wanted to download videos, create videos, that would be the biggest help on the frigging planet. But I totally understand how that is a huge outlay of time. And so if you are willing to only volunteer to like find the timestamps, I get it and I accept that, and that is beautiful. I just have to put it out into the ether in case it was possible that you would do it. So that's it.
It's definitely possible that I would do it, but I would want to do it in sort of like a step-to-step process. So like get the timestamps first, see what you're looking for, figure out how to physically do that, because I don't have a background in sort of graphic design or anything like that, like Madison does in terms of video editing. I just watch a lot of freaking videos.
But we do have like video editing software because that is something I'm trying to learn more and work with.
Yeah, and I've done digesting 3-hour podcasts in an hour and a half because I listen to it at 2 times speed is just something that I do. So why not do it for a form of activism, like Madison's saying, a form of getting involved, like Emma's saying, of feeling that fear of individually being powerless.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give it a shot. So let's give it a shot, David.
Yeah, 100%.
So, like, do you want to be the leader or do you want me to be the leader? Like, do you want to start the process? Maybe it's best for you to start the process the way it works for you, where you, like, give me a timestamp, I go check it out, I go, yeah, hell yeah. Is that kind of how we want to start it out?
Yeah, that's how I would want to start. Just take the next step and then hope you can take the next one after that, right? So just get the first step rolling, which would be to, once the stream ends and the live ends, start to go over it. Because I got a lot of cleaning to do, so I can put stuff on in the background and then come back to a notepad and write down a quick timestamp.
Oh,
and then touch it up and make it look nicer in some form of document to send to you so it's cleaner.
We are going to be out of commission for like the next 3 days.
That's okay. What are you doing?
We're going on a real family vacation, except we're not taking the baby because she doesn't have her measles vaccine yet because she's too young. So she's staying home with my mom.
Are you going to Disney?
Yeah.
This guy.
Incredible. Incredible. Well, that's fun. What are you looking forward to?
Well, we've never... Well, that's not true. We went when Jacob was a baby, a little tiny... That's when we got engaged.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
We were receiving a call.
Oh, sorry. No, we haven't been together since Jacob was a baby. That's the last time that David went to Disney. So I'm so looking forward to, like, being able to do all of that with him, because I don't usually have him.
Grayson might be.
Oh yeah, Grayson is not going.
Okay, Grayson. What's Grayson doing?
I don't know. His car is here. He's probably either on FaceTime with his girlfriend or playing video games or both.
Grayson might be.
Oh yeah, Grayson is not going.
Okay. Okay, well, cool. Well, okay. So we've started this process of me conscripting you into working on my behalf. And I'm so grateful. And so let's keep talking about it. I would like to... Okay, so David, let's start the process. And I know that you're going to go away, but do you want to start the process like whenever you can and let me know? And, you know, maybe we start with today's video or whatever. And then let's just all keep talking. We'll keep talking in the Discord. I think I'm going to go and I'm going to start trying to finish this Charlie Kirk thing. You know, it's the hardest thing about writing this stuff is you just have the MAGA voice in your head at all times being like, no, I'm not going to accept that piece of information. No, fuck, like, screw you. No way.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's so hard. I found a fact check from PolitiFact that says that, like, Charlie Kirk is not a white supremacist. But when you go and you look at Foster Friess and his support for Rick Santorum, who is a racist, and you know, who talks about, like, you know, black people being lazy, essentially, right? But he doesn't say out loud, essentially, he doesn't say straight up. He just talks about how, like, you need to incentivize black people. I mean, so this is pretty racist, but you need to incentivize them to work. Right? And that's Foster Friess, and Foster Friess is the seed money. And then you find videos of Charlie Kirk debating Breonna Gray Joy about, like, is there systemic racism in this country? And it's like, you don't debate that if you aren't racist, because the reality is redlining, is Jim Crow, is, you know, urban renewal, right? Like, those things are real. But that argument isn't going to friggin' work to our buddy S-Bub, you know? So it's like,
yeah,
fuck. And then he has if he goes and uses this PolitiFact thing where he says, like, there's no proof that Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist, it's like, yeah, but when someone talks about black people all the time and how he doesn't trust them when they fly a plane and how there's no systemic racism, like, that's racist.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
I so badly would love to get into a conversation with my uncle just about, like, his news stream and how absolutely whack it is and how he's not hearing any truth at all. But there's no argument that I feel I could give to him that he would accept, because every single thing that I could even, you know, reference down to its very core, he would be like, that's not real, that's not real, that's not real. So it's very discouraging, because it feels like they're not going to listen to anything at all.
Can we get him in the tub?
No. Oh, no.
We're not on speaking terms.
Yeah, it's We'll tell you about that in detail later, but it was a whole big thing. There was a rumble at the property line. It was crazy.
That'll be off stream.
Okay, rumble at the property line. Now that sounds like a great album name. I'm always looking for new album names for Big Jeans.
Write that down, and then you can improvise a song about the whole ordeal, because it truly was something to see.
Incredible. Well, look, okay, we're going to keep working. I got to go and keep working. I'm so grateful for y'all. Like, again.
Okay, we'll make a thread in the Discord for the three of us to.
I love it. I love
Get
it.
on that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't believe this family. I can't believe that you exist. I'm so grateful for you, and let's do it. We're going to do it. It just gets, it's discouraging when it doesn't grow and you don't know how to get more people watching. You know, that's what I don't know how to do. But
He's gonna be so sad when he finds out that we're all AI generated people.
Oh, well, that would, come on now, that's ridiculous.
I'm just kidding.
All right, well, I love you guys, and I'm grateful for you, and you know, I realize
We love you too, Deuce.
we are broadcasting, but I think it's just us.
Probably.
And so let's have a great day, everybody. Good luck with everything you're doing today. David will be in touch, and I'll be in touch with all of you, and I'll see you tomorrow if I don't talk to you otherwise.
Alrighty, yes, and.
All right, yes, and everybody else who may be watching out there across the internet, we want you to follow the fear. We want you to listen and agree with folks across the aisle whenever you can. We want you to consult fact-based information and spread fact-based information on the internet every single time you have the opportunity to. So this is Rev Deuce signing off, saying I love you, you love me. We are a democracy-saving family, and all of our problems in society are the result of disinformation and our information ecosystem that carries the right-wing disinformation propaganda ecosystem and complex into the mainstream, where all of America can be confused and can be attacked by Elon Musk, Christopher Rufo, Donald Trump, and Vladimir Putin and Steve Bannon, so that they can make us all hate each other. And so we push back against that, and we say we love each other. So how will you tell someone that you love them today? And please, at all times,